Hello, everybody, and welcome along to the 17th round of 18 in this 2016 GPVWC Super League Championship. Apologies for starting slightly later than anticipated. We have missed qualifying, unfortunately, but I can tell you it was David Feidick who has taken pole position in what may prove to be a crucial pole position for the current championship leader, with 2 rounds to go and 4 points to his championship rival Eros Mashuli, who will start in P3. And of course, with so little points, we are almost guaranteed to be going to the final round in Brazil, but the championship chase is well and truly on now, starting here with 71 laps of Mexican Grand Prix. I'm Josh Anderson. I'll be taking you through the action, as has been, well, pretty much my job throughout this season. Slight change in the cameras sort of sense. We have Mr. Thomas Hinss on cameras today, and of course, as ever, beside me is none other than Kacper, Kolodziejczyk. Kacper, great to have with me, as ever. It's getting a little bit real now, isn't it?
It is, and I thought you were going to forget me there for a second. No, honestly, David Feidick did just what he had to do after the last few races where he did absolutely fantastic. Last race, he, of course, gained quite a few points on Eros, and I think at this rate, he could be very much in the best place to win this championship with the 4-point lead and with having 2 places on him on the starting grid.
Absolutely, and it is going to be an advantage that we can see for certain. We are in warm-up now as we speak. Drivers just doing that pre-race routines and getting ready for this event that we have on. There are a couple of interesting penalties I'd like to go through, though, because obviously the race wasn't penalty-free at the United States last time around. Interesting ones. We have back at the grid penalties for Yaltine and Argenis Riera. Neither of which, well, Yaltine is here, but not Argenis Riera. So Tyne will start from the back of the grid. Interestingly, though, both David Feidick and Eros Mashuli took time penalties, in Feidick's case for track cutting, and Eros Mashuli for using DRS when not meeting the activation criteria. Now, that is, we think, a track bug, but nonetheless, he has been penalised for it, for using the DRS regardless, and that is, it hasn't affected their race positions, but it has affected, well, for Fran Lopez, he's got 26 seconds of penalty for that race. The actual winner turned out to be Florian Gaia from 21st.
Which is absolutely amazing. We have mentioned Florian during that race and how well he has done. And I think now with him actually taking that win, is that some kind of a record in Super League? Because that must be close to a record.
Well, it's getting there. I was thinking, well, this has to be a record to go from that far back to this far forward. I will have to check the history books on that one, but nonetheless, a great win for Florian Gaia, and it bolsters Nordstrom Racing's championship challenge in the team standings. As we know, it is very much Feidick versus Mashuli in the Drivers' Championship, and it's Nordstrom versus Adonis versus Vodbull in the teams. Nordstrom now take a 14-point swing over Adonis after this round. They have 14 points over 2 races, and Vodbull are 66 behind, so they may be about to drop out of this challenge with 1 round to go, but they are still in it for now, and some good results could keep them slightly alive.
I think, honestly, with Vodbull, as soon as they lost their primary, absolutely incredible driver, Philip Pushka, for the remainder of the season, I think that was basically the nail in the coffin for their championship chances. Just not having a driver who's there for the entire season is always going to be a downside, and they don't have a stable second seed in that car, I don't think, or haven't had it until the last race. So, yeah, at this point, Vodbull, I don't think really have much chance, to be perfectly honest.
Well, they can try. They can certainly try. And while I'm sure they will be trying this race and throughout the remaining race that we have in Brazil in 2 weeks' time, but this is the start of it, this championship challenge for teams and drivers, both going to try their very best to win and do well here, because it counts now more than it has ever counted. And both teams, well, give it a fair, good whack of the whip, so to speak, for a couple minutes to go. Unfortunately, we don't have Mike Pittman with us today to do the Super League technical chat, which inevitably wouldn't become a Super League Championship chat. But I can take you through the current development status of the cars myself, if you would so wish. And it could not be closer between Nordgen and Adonis. 12 overall points separate the two, although big gains on the rear wing drag for Adonis versus the Nordgen. But Nordgen have really invested in pit times and tyre changes. 74 points on those. So that is where that is coming from. And maybe not as good a car as the Adonis in terms of overall points, with less drag on the front and rear wings. They have about 62 to Adonis's 95, but they've invested in that pit time, and that can help them in that sense.
Yes, and I think we've seen it before. Although the interesting thing is that Norton car, we have seen it over the last few races that they like going far. They like having less pit stops as well. So I'm not sure if it's nearly as big of an advantage to them, but it's very interesting to see. And we have seen, I think, them having quite a bit of an advantage in that sense throughout last race. I think there was even an on-track battle that they kind of won in that exact manner.
Yeah, so we know the Nordgen car has it in it to win races. We've seen that before. And Red Archer, again, one to look out for. Not that far behind. Kernow Sport, Green Stripes, mid-pack cars there. And talking about engines, this has quite a couple of long straights, so speed can be important. Potentia have managed to mirror that by actually upgrading the base power of their engine. They've gone for 12 points there. Valiant and Martek still very much close in the standings, Trinity having not updated their power base at all this season.
Yes, again, there are very many different strategies for how to upgrade the engine. We have heard Mr. Pittman talk about it multiple times because, of course, he is the manager behind that engine of Valiant. And yes, it's just a very interesting kind of power dynamic more than anything.
Yeah, it could be interesting to see how that pans out for sure. And, well, before we move on to individual engine percentages, Vodball, they may have the best car, but they only have one car in the field because effective immediately, and this has just come in, effective immediately, Mindaugas Columbus is actually retired from Simracing, so he's not here. He will not be taking part today, and they will have a replacement driver in for the final round. But shape to see Mindaugas go, certainly.
Well, that is a shame, and Mindaugas did do quite a few really good races here throughout my time commenting on it. But yes, always unlucky to see sim racers go, but such is the way of life, and this is quite a demanding esport, to be perfectly honest, and that's just the way it is, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, people do retire, people do take breaks, and unfortunately, Mindaugas has decided not to take further part in the championship. Did take a win with Torrent Motorsports. We are losing a race winner, and well, it is a shame to see him go for certain, Mindaugas. His team, in his absence, though, have absolutely decided to throw the hammer down. You know, I mean, yeah, Vodball, they've only got one car now in Augustin Canapino, driving that number one, vacated, of course, by Philip Kuska, who obviously won't retain the championship now. 68% weight remaining on that engine, though. And when you compare it to the legs of Adonis, who have 84 and 85, Nordgen have 68 as well, and in the FIDIC car. So we'll be down on power compared to the Adonises, but nonetheless, yeah, that doesn't stop FIDIC from taking pole.
No, not at all. And I don't think they will really care at this point, since we know that Monza is a very, very engine-dependent track, and they have done that race on even less percentages on both cars and won it, I must remind you. So yes, I wouldn't really be surprised to see them just pull away anyway, even though their engine is, of course, the Martex is only powering that one team, and it is developed by them, and it's completely different to how the Nordsten developed their Valiant engine. Or not Nordsten, sorry, Vodball developed the Valiant engine.
Yeah, well, I've just been told, actually, by Chris Williamson that our cameraman, Thomas Hinss, can't join the server. So we are not going to be able to bring you pictures for the first part of this broadcast. We're trying to find somebody who can, unless Tom manages to join, in which case we'll be bringing pictures. But it might just be a radio broadcast for the first portion of this race, unfortunately. I will be sure to keep you informed on any changes to that.
Well, this is a new experience for me. Doing a radio broadcast is not exactly what I've learned to do over the last half year.
Yep, indeed. I'm just trying to talk with Chris now to see if we can get a replacement camera person in for certain. But Tom is doing a great job, regardless to even bring with the voice that we're getting.
Yes, and actually, if not for Tom, I don't think at this point we would have any broadcast. So I think I'm pretty happy to actually have Tom here.
Yeah, I mean, this may end up being just, this sort of thing, but nonetheless, we will try and do our best to bring you what is going on, whether we have pictures or not. So we can try.
And of course, if anyone wants to follow the results or the standings at any point, there is a live timing link on the website. So if you want to know exactly what's happening throughout the race, you just go to GPVWC.com and it's right in there. And I think it's honestly a great system that usually works quite well. And I think, to be honest, with us just doing a radio broadcast, this would be the best idea at this point, until we get an actual image.
Oh, apparently he's in. Apparently Thomas Hinss is in the server, and oh well, that's saved our bacon.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, thankfully.
Right. Okay, so we do have a Thomas Hinss. This is great news. And the grid has just been set. We will be able to bring you pictures after all. Crisis very much averted, and it is going to be standard procedure as far as broadcast is concerned, which makes me very happy.
Yes, and definitely makes me happy not to have to learn a new skill within about 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean that would have been a bit of a short change, wouldn't it?
Just a little bit.
Certainly, and well, I will tell you this at the moment. Oh, hang on. I'll tell you this. We're going to broadcast a nice little promo for this race at the start of the broadcast, but unfortunately, we didn't have quite enough time to do that. It is on the GPVWC YouTube channel if you want to go and have a look for yourself, this video, and you can be absolutely certain that it will be a good way to hype you up for this video, for this race. But with 20 seconds to go, I think it is going to be very interesting to see how this goes.
Yes, and I think this is going to be quite exciting. And of course, we've seen a lot of the races thus far in this series be extraordinarily exciting, and from the very start to the very finish. And I think this may be one of the good ones as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the championship challenge. This is the final 2 races. There's 4 points between the 2 top guys, and I don't think we can get better than this as we now start off on our formation lap. It is David Feidick, championship leader, and the one who will want a win here to maximise his lead going into the final round, who will start on pole position for Nordstjen Racing. In fact, it is a Nordstjen 1-2 on the start, as it's Gaia, his teammate, Florian Gaia, who won the last race, who'll start directly behind him. Erasmus Yuli, P3, an Adonis that needs the points, needs to outscore Feidick to lead the championship going into the final round, or even to go level. Michael Francesconi, his teammate, starts behind him. It is an Adonis Engineering second row, therefore. Manuel Gaxella, 5th for Storm Racing. The Romanians had a very good season so far, and being up there is great for him again. Augustin Canapino, the sole Vodbull, in 6th. Needs to make inroads, otherwise their championship challenge will come to an end. Fran Lopez had the win, lost the win, starts 7th here in Mexico, and he's followed by Adrian McNaughton, who will be P8. Roy Shorten and Lewis Redshaw, the 2 Woods cars, lock out row 5, and it's Daniel Brewer in P11, followed by another Daniel Benefield in 12th. Ben Horrell for Green Stripes will start in P13, then Jason Muscat for Wilders Automotive, the Maltese, in 14th position. 15th is Darwin Temple Finito Racing, and Tom Parker in the other Green Stripes is P16. Mike Quint in the Hawkeye is 17th, and Mark Wicks will round out row 9 in the Cairns Sports. Tobias Olsen 19th for Hawkeye Racing, and Jarl Tyen, with his back of the grid penalty, starts 20th and last on row 10.
So a couple less cars this time around, but we still have a nice little grid of 20 cars, and this should be very, very fascinating once we actually get going.
Yep, indeed. And I would like to ask you, Kacper, who your race win pick is?
At this rate, if nothing changes, I would actually say David Fiduk, to be honest. At this pace, with that car, I think he's in for a win.
Well, that was a pretty predictable pick, if I'm honest with you. As I see, that is actually one of the. I think Jason Muscat is spun at the final corner, but you're going to go Fiduk. I'm going to go Missouri because championship rivals.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. That would be my second choice, to be honest. Florian is absolutely amazing, an amazing driver as well, but I think he needs a lot of luck to win with these two.
Yeah, as we have 1 lights, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Fiduk versus Missouri is off and away, and it's a great start for the Italian, who seems to have jumped Guy off the start there. He gets past the nose chin, now right at his rival already. It's happened before we even get to turn 1. He's ahead so far. Fiduk going to try and chase. Look at this from Fran Lopez, though. From 7th, has gone all the way up through the field to 1st. Don't know how he's done that, but he's got to the lead. And Lopez... Well, he's done a Lopez and he's got through into the lead in turn 1. I'm going to find out exactly. Whoa, sorry, lost my words. I'm going to find out how that actually happened later because I didn't see it. But Mashuni has jumped Gaia and Gaxella. Where is David Fiduk? He's out in 8th. He's dropped right down the field. Catastrophic start for the championship leaver, Kacper.
Yes, that's absolutely catastrophic. And Fran Lopez, I didn't think he had it in him to start it, but the straight is so long after the start that he was able to just get away without a problem. And then Eros' start was also amazing, just drafting behind David, but David just not able to hold onto any proper position. So now the championship battle is on.
Wow. Fran Lopez from 7th to 1st in 1 corner. He's done a Lopez and gone into 1st. How has he done that? And, well, Eros Missouri, 2nd place. That is still a decent start from the Italian, let's not forget. But as we start the 2nd lap, it is very much Fran, Eros, Florian, Emmanuel, Agustin Canapino round out your top 5.
Yeah, that's amazing. I did not expect... Oh, as Fiduk is being attacked by Roy Schroten. Oh my, what is happening to David Fiduk? Well,
it is not good news for the championship leader. I don't know whether he got caught in the tussle for turn 1. But Fiduk gets all the way down in P8 and he's under attack from Schroten. He in return is attacking Redshaw though. So, you know, this could be a fight to watch.
Yes, it is the fight to watch. And as we have the camera on who? Oh, on Fiduk Battle. There we go, yes. Honestly, David Fiduk is under so much pressure. And Daniel Benefield is just there behind Schroten as well, waiting for a mistake from them too. This is going to be fascinating. If any single one of them makes a mistake, this is going to be a lot of places lost.
Yeah, indeed. It could not be... It could end badly or it could end goodly for David Fiduk. He's going to try and work his way back up though at the moment as he's challenging Redshaw for P7. As I see position changes up there. Eros Missouri has missed a timing beam. Well, I made him a mouthful out of that. I thought he'd actually gone off the track.
Something very interesting. I'm seeing Eros Mashuli having extreme lag. I am seeing, well, not extreme, but in very, very bad lag. His ping is about 300 for me. So this is some internet problems for Eros Mashuli, and that's probably what happened right there.
Yeah, I think Eros just missed a timing beam, I think, and well. He's still very much in 2nd, Guy still very much in 3rd, but Fiduk not having a very good start of this. Just ahead of it, Redshaw's going for McNaughton for P6, so Lewis Redshaw trying to get that Woods car even further up than already is, and Roy Shorten is obviously there. It is very much an Aldrin sandwich for David Fiduk, because you don't call a sandwich by its bread these days. As I think, as he just missed the ice, just dropped down and up again. But surely, well, I don't know whether he's lagging or what, but he's dropped down to 5th again. Either he's missing timing beams, or his connection is not quite there, or it's my connection or something, because...
He's
yeah,
definitely
oh,
lagging.
look at that ping, 338. This is not good for Eros.
No, this is very bad, and at this rate, this is actually danger for all the drivers around him, so he hopefully can get it sorted out very quickly, but this does not look good for Eros. And apparently we have a 4th place battle between Emmanuel Gagzella and Agustin Canapinas.
Oh.
There's a touch between him and they space.
Oh, well, that's round, and Canapino gets hit, and that is bad news for that, because what happened? I'm going to look here. Canapino goes down the inside, then the outside, and, well, goes round, and, oh, well, I don't know whether there was contact. Maybe my replay is too laggy, but it looks like they just both went off at the same time. both joined the synchronized spinning club, and then one of the Woods collected them. I think there might have been contact, but
There was
Canapino is out of the race.
And now David Fidek's under attack from Daniel Brewer. He gained one position in that whole mess, but now Daniel Brewer's in front of David Fidek, and Fidek's back down to 8.
Yeah, look at this from here. Brewer's gone through, down the outside, and round the right they go, and he's through. Brewer through to 7th. David Fidek not having a good time of it. Is the damage maybe on that Nolston? I would hope not, because here comes Benefield to try to take position 2. Breaks, and Benefields! Oh dear, that's not gone well. Luckily, no major damage, but Brewer has gone off again ahead of Fidek, but maybe overshot that a little bit.
Yeah, that was quite an overshot, to be honest. And to be honest, Fidek did have contact in that incident of the 2 cars spinning in front of him. So I wouldn't be surprised if he also has some slight damage. But at this point, that was a bit of an optimistic from Daniel Benefield, to be honest.
Yeah, and well, maybe a little bit too optimistic, but David Fidek is not really much closer to Daniel Brewer in this meantime. About a second between them now. While it's closed down. It's closed down, but... Oh, apparently there's a Hawkeye around. That is Mike Quint, who's gone off. He's in P14, so this is lower end of the points. Not necessarily the biggest battle, but Michael Francesconi. What's happened to Francesconi? He's down at 16.
Must have been involved in an accident earlier on, I would have said. It must have been that accident that had the... that Canapino spinning, and by the way, that's Canapino out of the race, which means the Vodbull is completely out of the race, and I could only assume they're out of the championship at this stage.
I'd argue so. As under threat again, Fidek from Benefield. Make sure not to go too deep that corner, but David Fidek's got a good run. Wheel spin, though, lights up the rear tyres, going on to the little run down to turn 4. And Fidek's going to break now around the outside, which becomes the inside. And it's not enough for him, though. Or is it good? Oh, contact! Contact, and he half-spun Brewer there. And he's on contact again! Well, this is just getting a little bit silly now, but... Well, David Fidek down to 10. Contact, I think he tried to... Did he try to wait for Brewer? That's the thing. And then he went round again. He's lost positions because of that. This is not what the start we wanted to see.
No, and I'm not going to judge whose fault it was and what happened there and what, but that looked very, very silly to put it lightly. This was very, very bad driving from one of the drivers at the very least.
Well, we will have to see how that pans out, but nonetheless, it is looking good for Eros Mashuli in the championship fight right now. It must be said, regardless of the circumstances in which it's come about, he is in second place, and David Fidek is back in P11 now. Even Jarl Tynes got through at this rate. There is going to be a 15 point... It's going to be 11 points to Eros going into the final round.
And honestly, at this point, the only thing that I think can stop Eros from taking that lead is his own lag. Since I've seen his ping go up to 500, I would really... but now it's down to 70, so it's something wrong. Something unstable in his connection, I think.
Yeah, that is not very good news, unfortunately, for Eros Mashuli. He's pretty much fighting himself here, in a sense, in that way, but, you know, we can hope all goes well for him. We can hope all goes well for David Fidek, and, well, hope all goes well server side. But, nonetheless, it has been an interesting first 5 laps of this race. So I think we are on lap 6 now, and Fran Lopez is 3.2 seconds ahead of Eros Mashuli. I've heard something about the Wouters there, and that would be Jarl Tyne, who's, well, now under threat from David Fidek, and Jason Muscat. 9-10 for Wouters is pretty good, let's not remember. And, well, Fidek is going to be chasing down these two in the start of the Iron Crusade that he's going to have to do to get back into a good point scoring position.
I'd like to remind you that Jarl Tyne has actually started from the very back of the grid, so his start actually in the first 6 laps are very impressive to get up to 10th and just avoid all the wreckage in front of him. So him now fighting with his teammate and possibly looking for that 9th place, starting from 20th.
Yeah, and, well, must be said that, you know, I've lost my train of thought already. That's what 6 laps of interesting racing does for you.
Yes, and Jarl Tyne is actually through on Jason Muscat, who's now under pressure from David Fidek.
Yeah, Fidek pressuring Muscat down the inside. Goes the Englishman, and he wants to brake for this turn quite late enough to get through. Game set, and the match to fight. It goes through at the 10th. Will now chase the all-time for 9th position, but Jason Muscat wants to probably have a go at some point on the lap as well. You have to be careful of that. You all tie in, remember. Started from the back of the grid and is now 9th. A great start from him. But David Feidick is no ordinary opponent. He's a 2014 Super League champion, hoping to make it 2 titles in 2016. And he's not going to make life easy for y'all, for certain. But just ahead of them, we got the Battle of the Daniels. Daniel Benefield versus Daniel Brewer for P7. And Brewer looks to be closing in a little bit here as they come around into the complex here, round the short left, round into the right. This is turn 14 they're coming through now.
And right behind David Feidick, we actually have a battle on track between Horrell and Muscat, and they were actually side by side coming into the stadium complex, and now there could be a bit of a battle coming on the main straight as well, but just be careful because there may be other moves happening in front of them as well.
Yeah, got to be careful between these two. I'm just looking for something, something that could be brewing.
Horrell is taking Muscat
on
the inside of the first corner.
Through goes Ben Horrell there into P11, and that is a great move for the Green Stripes. Here comes Muscat. Oh, trying to get a good line. Has not worked out for the Maltese. Maybe he'll be able to use the DRS to his advantage. I don't think he has it. No, that is Horrell's DRS. And all the benefit him. Michael Francesconi, though, has DRS, and he's coming through on Muscat to gain P12. Start of the charge for the Adonis driver, perhaps. He's got Horrell ahead and wants to go through here as soon as is humanly possible.
Yes, Francesconi will definitely want to go up as quickly as he can, just not to lose points to... I think he's one of his main rivals at the moment would be Florian Geyer, who's actually in front of him by 10 points, so he definitely, at this point, will not be very happy with his standings, and he will try to close that gap down and possibly try to, by the end, catch up to Geyer.
Yep, Geyer indeed running a solid 3rd, and then, well, look at the gaps. 2.7 to Eros, 5.7 to Florian, 13 to Redshaw. He's really pulling out a little bit of lead, yes, Fran Lopez.
And I don't think anyone should be surprised at this stage that Fran Lopez is pulling a gap. I mean, we have seen him last time around, and yes, he did lose that position due to track cuts, but he was really, really quick on track.
Certainly has the pace, as we've seen through his last race at the United States. He just has to be careful he doesn't cut the track too much.
And I think at this point he will be very, very careful to keep within the white lines. And if he can keep the absolutely amazing pace he has with keeping within the circuit, I think he is in for a race win, maybe here or maybe in Interlagos. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to see for certain, but we might see how he does then. And, well, Fran Lopez, again, showing his pace. But Eros Mashuli is 2.8 seconds behind. He's holding the gap as Eros, but here comes the lag again.
Oh, this is not very good. The one thing that we should be thankful for is that Eros is running on his own currently, so no one can hit him. Oh, well, as he's
that was scary. I think we almost lost him, but he is here.
Yes, that is definitely on Eros' side.
Oh, and yeah, this is quite big lag for Eros Mashuli now. But it looks to be coming down again. This is not good for the Italian. I think we'll need to keep an eye on him as Florian Geyer chases him for P3. Obviously not within danger of lag-related accidents at the moment, but it is still evident. I think it's... There's Reggio. Oh, Lewis Reggio behind. Emmanuel Gagzala under a little bit of pressure here, and so much doing he spins. Well, commentator's case perhaps, but nonetheless, Redshaw, and look at this now, Roy Schroten goes through his own teammate, and well, Redshaw down to 6th, Schroten holds 5th, 5-6 for Woods. This is a stunning result for them.
Yes, and I'm honestly not that surprised after I've seen what Roy Schroten can do last time in our Atlantic Series last week, in fact, exactly a week ago where he finished 2nd. So Roy Schroten, I mean, he's doing a great work here as well as is Lewis Redshaw.
Yeah, I mean, doing a great job, as you rightly say, you know. And, well, Guy just jumped into the P3 temporarily there. I think that was more, again, missing timing being potentially. But, nonetheless, this is a good result for Woods in 5th and 6th. Battle of the Daniels still going on behind. Not an awful lot aside from that, though. I mean, we've got Francesconi Horrell for 11th and 12th. We've got the little scraps up in the mid-pack, and not really much else apart from that that's in the points. So apparently Geyer is past Mashuli now. I don't know how that's happened. Maybe he's missed a time. No, he's actually... He must have missed a time. Yep, again, he's missed a time with beam again. This is becoming a bit of a problem for Aros. Because he's ahead, but he's not registering as being ahead.
That's very odd, and I guess this is purely due to lag.
Yeah, there's Red Joe in the pits already in P13. Now comes out on the soft tyre. Now that is indeed the option tyre here, with the medium being hard.
I don't think we're going to see much of medium running here. I wouldn't have thought. This wouldn't be... I wouldn't have thought that this track would be a very tire-heavy track. There aren't that many very, very fast corners like we've seen last time around, as we have Daniel Brewer that just crashed into a wall.
Oh, wow. That wasn't very good, was it, Daniel? Unfortunately. What happened there? Let's look back. David Feidick has a great view of it, because... What happens is, Daniel Brewer goes off. He's actually somehow veers right on his straight. I don't know how he did that. Then goes off, hits the ball sideways, and then runs across the grass, and then hits Jarl Tyen. So that is a little bit of a controversial thing that happened there, and I'm not quite sure what it did, but it's given David Feidick the opening he needs on Jarl Tyen to go down the inside into the stadium complex. He's not got the move done yet. Round the outside he stays. Tyen is still there, and he's finally got it done. David Feidick into P7.
I wouldn't say this is over yet at all, though. Jarl Tyen right behind Feidick, and we've seen what can happen on the main straight. I think Feidick is going to be under an immense amount of pressure on this straight at the end into the first corner.
Apparently my microphone's still too loud. I'm going to have to turn it down again. And that is on the lowest gain now, so I'm still too loud.
As we have Tyen made the move. And that's Feidick back behind Tyen. This is going to be fascinating. And to be honest, that move that Feidick did earlier was amazing. It was side-by-side action through corners that I wouldn't have ever thought possible. But now Feidick has to do it all over again.
Yeah, well, I hope I'm not too loud anymore. My microphone is on the minimum gain possible, so Mr. Hinss is actually going to have to turn me down on TeamSpeak if it's still too loud. But David Feidick will want to get past Jarl Tyen as he makes a little bit of a mistake there.
That's going to slightly influence his tire wear.
Well,
but Tyen is doing a great job. Tyen is doing an absolutely amazing job. And actually that's Feidick up to 7th place with all the pit stops that happened so far and all the mistakes and all of the crashes.
Yeah, he is absolutely gunning for him here. David Feidick on Jarl Tyen. He was through before, remember. And Fran Lopez in the pits. Lopez in. And he pits now. He will remain on the soft tyres. Eros Mashuli takes race lead. Florian Guy is second. Emmanuel Gagzella will go through for P3. At least gross P3, because he hasn't pitted yet, I don't think. As Lopez, a little bit close to the white lines there for the pit exit, but doesn't cross them.
Yes, and I think we're seeing the exact same thing as happened in the US Grand Prix. This is just one of those moments where Lopez is just so much quicker, but he eats up his tires. And he is going to possibly have to do even one more pit stop than everyone else. I mean, it's 12 laps of 71, and he has already had to do a pit stop.
As Lewis Redshaw, we're apparently watching in P12, and, well, Ben Horrell's gone off. So, he goes through. Ben Horrell now in 12th place, Redshaw 11th, Parker 10th. As, Lopez on Sean for P4, and straight through he goes. Nice clean move there from Lopez. Cuts the corner a little bit on exit, though. Has got to watch that. And watch that, because he's cut there as well, I think. And, well, shorten his P5. And, well, probably he's going to try and put the charge back on. But Lopez on a bit of a charge himself. Next up is Emmanuel Gagzella in P3.
Yes, and I think on the new tires, he's just so much quicker than anyone in front of him. He's going to be just able to storm past them. But while we were concentrating on this, David Feidick has actually gone through on the Jarl Tyen, and now he's starting to try and get away. But at this point, Gagzella is also into the pit. So Fran Lopez's next opponent is actually Florian Geyer.
Yeah, and Geyer P2. There and having a great race of his own. David Feidick's in P6. Making a bit of a charge back up the field here, although he is 27 seconds behind Eros Mashuli.
Yes, he is quite far back, and that has been quite... all of that has actually put him down so much, and at this rate, Eros will still be very happy to see that. I think as long as he can regain that championship lead, he will be more than happy about this race.
Yep, he will absolutely wants to get as many points as he can. Remember, he has a 4-point swing over Mashuli. As it stands, not even a win would be enough for him to keep the championship lead, although it would be just a single point in it going into Brazil if things stay as they are now in that instance.
Yes, that is very interesting, and I really love this this end of the season. This is amazing stuff. I didn't expect it to be happening to the very last race, and I think we all enjoy such a close battle and basically having a decider at the very end of the season.
As far as teams championships are concerned, there'll be 15 points in it in the final round if things stay as they are now, only gaining 1 point Nordstjen over Adonis.
That's still gaining a point, of course. Francesconi just not having a good race so far, really, as we have Fran Lopez actually doing the fastest lap of the race, so I'm not too surprised on the new tires.
Lopez, new tires, new fastest lap. Keep an eye on him. But if he keeps cutting the track, then he might lose it again after the race like he did last time. But I'm hoping he won't, because he is a fantastic driver when it comes to this pace. Fran Lopez, 14 seconds down on Mashuli as Jason Muscat, P7, has just been overtaken by Manu Gagzella, who's locked up, and here comes Muscat. Tries to get a go again. He will have a run on the back straight. I don't think he'll have the DRS. No, that is Gagzella's. So the run ends as soon as it begins. But, you know, P7 for Gagzella is always a good thing.
Yes, also I think we had Jarl Tyne in the pits. He's now out on track anyhow. But he is down in 14th place now. And we also have Francesconi overtaking Tobias Olsson for 12th place.
Here goes Michael, indeed, and the charge begins once again. And I want to try and keep an eye on the overall times of Fidek versus Mashuli. Because if he's getting further away, even though he gains positions, he's not going to take the race win.
If you look at their fastest laps of the race, the fastest lap of Eros is a second quicker than Fidek. And if you look at their current laps, they're over half a second quicker from Eros. So I would not be surprised that Eros was just able to still keep on pulling away.
Yes, I mean, last lap from Mashuli was a 1:24.9. Last lap from Fidek, a 1:25.5. Personal best though from Fidek.
Yes, Fidek did do a personal best and is still keeping on doing personal best for the last 2 laps, but if you look at it, they're still slower than Eros. He's not going to be able to catch up at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to try though. That's all he can do. I mean, it hasn't been a beneficial start, but you've got to make the best of what cards you've been dealt. That is for certain. And while Eros Mashuli is making a good job of that P1 that he currently has, that cannot be doubted. He is leading this race, and Fran Lopez, although he's trying to catch back up, is not currently leading.
He's still going quicker, and he's doing all he can to go quicker, but it is 14 seconds, and I think he will, by the end, have to at least catch up on 1 pit stop. So, honestly, I think he can do it, and it's going to be an interesting battle to the end, kind of like what we've seen in the US, of course, on track, but it's going to be fascinating by the end.
It is going to be a phenomenal race, I can assure you that. You know, if the United States Grand Prix was anything to go by, this should be even better. But, you know, at the moment, with a 6-second gap between Mashuli and Gaia, it's not really looking at there's going to be any direct battles for the lead, unfortunately, which is a shame. But there is a direct battle for P8. Muscat and Redshaw giving it everything they have against each other. Further up the field, Roy Shorten is pitted, but Lewis Redshaw, his teammate, is challenging for this pair as Muscat in. Well, that ends that battle then. Thanks, Jason.
Yes, I don't think... Yes, at this point it was just... I don't think he even had much of a chance against Lewis. It was just... on this track, once you're so close behind through the last corner, it's just all over.
Well, I'll tell you this. Tom Parker has come out in a beneficial position to try and take P8. He's on the medium tyre, Parker. And, well, he has given it a nice little bit of a go here. Will want to try and overtake Shorten if he can catch him, but good pace so far from the green stripes driver.
Yes, and we have talked to Tom before the race, and he was telling us how he is going to try and qualify on the harder compound of tyre. And seemingly that strategy so far is working very well for Tom, and he's going to be in a beneficial position afterwards, just able to go on softs until the very end, which is the preferred tyre for all drivers, pretty much.
He's gonna try though, as Tom, as he is a bit of a tryer. He likes to give it a go. We know how good he is. seen how close he's come to winning races before. Might not have the machinery or, you know, the whatever to do it this season. I mean, he was in Midnight when he went for race wins, and Midnight was the dominant force back then. But Tom Parker, regardless of what car you give him, he's a stunning driver.
Yes, and I think he's doing an absolutely stunning job in that green stripes car currently. And Rush Rutten seems to be on pace currently, right out of the pit stops, right out of the pits, and he's already doing the best sector of anyone in the middle sector the first time by. And we have a battle between Fidek and Benefield, as Fidek... Oh, sorry, Fidek just pitted and Benefield did as well.
Similar time, and we have a battle between the two. Michael Francesconi in ninth, ahead of Fidek. So this is an Adonis-Nolston battle, although it's the wrong Adonis for Fidek to be getting ahead of, although getting ahead of Francesconi means he can have a step closer to Eros Mashuli. That, at least, you know, works that way. And remember that Nolston have that pit time advantage, so their pit stops will take less than Adonis's, so maybe a little bit of time to begin in the pit stops.
Yes, and
that.
Of course there is always that, and right now what I'm actually looking at is Geyer is losing a lot of time to Mashuli lap after lap. I mean, last lap was only 3/10, but overall he's already 7.5 seconds behind Eros. And one person who's closing in on him is Fran Lopez.
Yep, Lopez starting to close the gap on Geyer a little bit here, and we could have a battle for P2 if all goes well in that sense, but Fran Lopez, again, one of those drivers. When he gets into his rhythm, when he gets into his stride, he can be a phenomenal force to deal with. We saw that in America in that fantastic final lap. And final 2 laps, didn't we? As Geyer is off! Well, he's gone so far off that he's actually let Lopez through. So there is the battle.
That's quite unusual to see from Florian, to be honest. We've seen him drive so well over the last, at least over the last few races. And of course, getting those 2 race wins in the second half of the season, it's not that usual to see him make big mistakes like this.
I suspect the pit stop might be due from Geyer.
It looks like he is very much struggling with tires, as Thomas Hinss is telling us, and yeah, it does look like he can't really put the power down, he can't really turn very quickly, but that's again unusual since it seems like those Northern cars always had the edge in tires.
Oh, here we go, Mashuli in, race leader into the pits comes Eros Mashuli, and this is going to have to be a quick stop for the Adonis team, because any advantage gained by Nordstrom is an advantage they can't be doing with. In all fairness, Fran Lopez, I do believe, will retake the lead of this race. In comes Eros. Lopez goes through to retake the race lead. Geyer in too. So, there you go. There's a Nordstrom in. Out comes Mashuli. Exits the pit line now.
It's interesting. Because Fran Lopez did pit in earlier. So he's actually, he's nearly caught up to at least 6 or 7 seconds to Eros. And he has already overtaken Geyer before he took a pit stop. So actually Fran Lopez was in second place with 1 pit stop down. I think he may be challenging for the win by the end of this race.
Well, at the moment, the gap can't be seen, unfortunately, but I'm sure we'll see the gap. 8.9 seconds to Eros Mashuli.
This will be very interesting, and I really wonder how quickly Eros is going to be able to go on these fresh set of tires. I think he's going to be a bit quicker than Fran Lopez, to be perfectly honest.
We're going to battle on for P7. Benefield, Francesconi, Fidek. 3-way going on here. Fidek has DRS. Everyone has DRS. And it's going to be a case of who's quickest. Because they all have less drag. But who's got the speed into this turn? It's not going to be David Fidek. That's for certain. And no change happens, unfortunately. But it is an interesting battle. Because Fidek has to get past one Adonis to get to another Adonis.
Yes, and now he's being held back, and he'll not like this at all. He'll want to just get by as quickly as he can. And right now, that Daniel Benefield is the biggest thorn in his side.
Yeah, Benefield really doing a great job in P7, but Fidek has to get past him to try and minimise the points damage he's going to take in the moment. Ooh, a little bit of track. I think he cut the track there, because that has occurred. And oh, here we go! Fidek makes a lunge down into that turn. That is, well, interesting to say. He makes a lunge down into 12. It doesn't work out for him, though. Maybe just gives Francesconi something to think about. And he will try on the front straight, will David Fidek. Remember, he does not have as good an engine in terms of wear as the engine in that Adonis. But that, remember, the Martex engine and the Valiant engines are two completely different beasts, and Finding does not look to be making enough ground up here.
No, and I think we're seeing that Daniel Benefield and that Red Archer is so much quicker in a straight line that Francesconi, even on DRS, cannot actually catch up to him, and David Fida can't catch up to Francesconi because Francesconi has DRS, and that's a very interesting little power dynamic. And what's even more interesting is that Fida is still keeping behind those two, even though he's on the slower tire.
Well, it's interesting that he is there, and we'll have to see if he can do a job to do what he can do. I mean, David Fidek, we know David Fidek is a good driver. We know he's a former champion. Can he get past Francesconi and Benefield, though, and start to reel the points in again? That we'll have to see.
It appears that Francesconi is actually starting to lose place behind Daniel Benefield, in fact, and now David Fidek is going to try and utilize that on the long straight, I would only assume.
Well, I mean, Francesconi is a little bit closer now. He's going to have a little bit more of a draft than he had before. Fastest lap of the race has been set by Eros Masulia, 1:23.9 from the Italian, and he will be hoping to reel in Lopez to retake the race lead. And Redshaw in the pits as we have this battle ongoing now between Finding and Francesconi. Adonis versus Nojin. It's what we wanted to see, but it's the wrong Adonis, unfortunately. Francesconi not in the championship contention. Jarl Tyen retires.
What happened there? It seems like a crash or something, because it was a spin in last corner. Apparently with suspension damage, Jarl Tyen is out of this race.
And that is a shame for Jarl. He was having a good run as well. That will promote White Quinton at the last points position. And that will mean there is one Hawkeye in the points and another Hawkeye in the points, which is great for Hawkeye.
Just going to quickly, I can broadcast, you guys can hear me now, so hello, hope you're enjoying the broadcast so far. But just thought I'd comment on that crash from Jarl. Looks like from the replay, he was in 4th gear and then suddenly goes into reverse. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but a bit odd to say the least.
May just have accidentally engaged reverse Jarl Tyen, and that is very unfortunate, but he is out of this race now and will not be scoring any points today.
I have heard of that issue, actually, and I think I know what it is, because in R Factor 2, here's a little hint for anyone who races in R Factor 2 and doesn't know this. If you pull both your paddles, and this is a setting that is disabled sometimes by default, I think it is enabled though, most of the time, and if you pull both of your paddles up and down, the car goes into neutral. So it may have been that he accidentally pulled both paddles and then pulled the downshift paddle again and went into reverse.
Well, maybe we'll have to find out after this. Maybe we may never will find out, but Jarl Tyen knows that he's out of this race now, and that is very unfortunate for him. And well, he was having a great run. David Fidek versus Michael Francesconi versus Daniel Benefield does not appear to be going anywhere quickly, unfortunately.
Yes, and at the moment it just looks like it has settled down, really. As you say, it's all not going anywhere. Also, what's interesting is how much the actual brakes glow on these cars. I'm just looking at Fidok, and his brakes are just completely red from a distance even.
Yeah, these cars need hot brakes to make them work, and, well, it's working alright for these cars at the moment. No one seems to be having brake problems. That is for certain. Through the S's, and well, Fidek is going to try and get on the brakes into the stadium section.
No, it just seems like that Martix engine, or that generally the Nordstrom car is just not quick enough in a straight line to be able to contest Francesconi.
Yeah, and that is unfortunate for David because he needs as much of an advantage as he can get right now. But Lopez is still ahead of Mashuri. As well. That has not changed. Florian Geyer in 4th. Gegzella through into 3rd. In all this, Fidek is not closing Francesconi quick enough.
It's possible that Geyer... Is it possible that Geyer is doing one stop? No. Because he's already been in pit stops once. And he's not fulfilled the tire rule, which says you have to run both compounds. It may be I think it's going to be one more pit stop from now, though, for Geyer, or he's going to attempt to at the very least.
Well, he is giving it a real go. I was about to say David Fidek on Michael Francesconi. He is giving it everything he can give. on the Italian here. He's really starting to put the pressure on, but then again, he just loses it on the main straight again.
It's just...
It's in these fast sections where the nitrogen loses its advantage.
Yes, it is, very much so, and I think that's just in the way that they set up the car. It may be quicker over a lap, but it's not much use to you if you can't overtake in a straight line. That's why oftentimes, and I can tell this from experience in endurance racing, for example, a lot of the time you'll actually get a car that's not as quick in for corners and not as quick across a lap, but it will be quicker in a straight line, and you're just able to either fend off or overtake people when they least expect it.
Well, it wouldn't really work from here, unfortunately. He's closing in these braking sections and the fast sections, but in the straight line speed areas, Michael Francesconi, he just has too much of an advantage.
Yes, and it's not even like Francesconi is in the RS region. He's actually dropping off from behind Benefield, and it's 2.5 seconds at this point. So it's just straight line speed from Francesconi is so much better than Fidok on the RS.
Well, I mean, he's going to have to try something a little bit radical here, I think, if he wants to get through David Fidok. And hopefully that doesn't end in disaster, but he's going to give it a go, surely. Otherwise, P8 means he will drop all of a considerable chunk of points. He will drop, assuming Eros Machili finishes in the lead where he now is as Fran Lopez is pitted. At this present point, he will drop 18 points and therefore go 14 points behind with one race to go.
Yes, that will be very difficult to get back, I think, for Fidok. As we have Muscat and Horrell battle. And I think Muscat is going to be under quite a bit of pressure from Horrell now.
Yeah, Jason Muscat, Ben Horrell, both going at a chance of each other here for P10. The Maltese is doing a good job for Wouters. He's having a great race, and we don't usually see Jason in Super League. When we do see him in Super League, though, he's quite good. So this should be an interesting battle to watch. Although I've just noticed that Florian Gaia is chasing down Emmanuel Gaxella in a rate of knots, and has just ran into the back of him.
Oh, not again.
Gaia has gone into the back of Gaxella, but luckily no position change occurred, although he might get a little bit of a warning for that little punt.
Yes, driving into the back of another car is not exactly a very good move, to be honest. But something interesting. Fran Lopez is on the harder compound of tires. I think he realizes right now that he's just not quite able to keep the tires going for as long as the drivers in front of him can. So he's going to try and use those tires to the best of his ability.
Trying to win on strategy here, Fran Lopez. It's strategy that can work.
It could. And Lopez and... is it Redshaw? Yes, Redshaw are the only two drivers to actually pit in twice so far. And that's very early on. At this rate, they would have to do about 4 or 5 pit stops. But that's still a lot for a race like this.
Well, Gaia gets the DRS down the front straight. He's topping out already, though. Unfortunately, he does not have the traction to get through. He will have to try to turn 4. He is not close enough yet. Needs to hold this gap to Gaxella and then get the DRS as he does now. He will have an advantage. Gaxella has no DRS to Gaia's many DRS. He can't try into this corner again, can we? It didn't go well the last time he tried it. Doesn't go for it. Well, full-time move there.
And again, we've seen the same thing. Gaia can be on DRS, and he just cannot close down to Gaxella. Gaxella has the top speed without DRS, and acceleration without the DRS. So it just seems that Norton car is set up way more onto the corners, but that's not going to help anyone in the battle. And it apparently is basically, as Thomas Hinss is saying, he's just so much quicker through the middle sector. And yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. It's just the setup of the car is not made for being able to overtake. It's just purely made to be quick across a lap, or just one or multiple laps in clean air.
Well, we have been racing for about an hour now as Emmanuel Gaxella hops into the pits there. Gaia will go through into P3. We've been going for about an hour now, and we are 38% of the way through this race. You know, it is a bit of a long haul, these Super League races, but you always get something interesting happening, and, well, at some point, it's the middle part of this race that we're entering now, where it just starts to die down a bit, and then it gets really interesting towards the end again.
Yes, it's always that part of the race, but once it gets in the second part, and especially the last third of the race, it always gets so exciting. I don't know what it is about this series, but the races just have these phases, and at the very end, no matter what, nearly always just get exciting. Something happens, strategy calls, fighting on track. It's very, very good series so far from what I've been watching since, I think, Austria. Or watching and commentating on.
I will add a little bit of a note here. David Feidick's last lap was a 1:25.1. A whole second of Eros Mashuni. He is nowhere near the pace he needs to be doing to even match Eros's. He's going to be losing time hand over fist to his championship rival here.
As they have a battle for 10th.
I don't think that first lap drama has helped David Feidick ending his 10th. We are looking at Oriel versus Muscat.
It's still the same battle and still the same protagonist, so I think this is going to be an ongoing one for a very long time.
Well, it's worth looking at because it is a potential decent position, P10 we're looking at, and I think Jason Muscat is he's got probably what it has here to hold off Ben Horrell. I mean, there's no tyre compound difference between the two. Both cars, well, one's running Valiant, one's running Potentia. One is the works Potentia team in the Wouters, and they have upgraded their base power for this race. So, compared to the Valiant, which, has a considerable amount more base power than that Potentia engine, it's a little bit of a saving grace as Horrell gets the DRS. He's going to open up the taps on that Valiant V6 all the way up to its 13 and a bit thousand RPM rev limit. Maybe even 14,000 as well. He doesn't... Oh, I think he probably just had a bit too much dirty air in there. Didn't get the turn again, and he's dropped time.
Yes, also something very interesting to keep an eye on. At the moment, Fran Lopez is actually going nearly a second quicker than Eros, even though he is on the slower compound of tires. So Fran Lopez is doing absolutely incredible times on that harder compound.
Yeah, his last lap was a 1:24.7. Eros is a 1:25.0, so there's about 3/10 in it.
Yeah, it was actually more last lap. It was just right now they just this lap was 3/10. The last lap was about 5 or 6 or 7/10. It was amazing. So at this point, Fran Lopez is actually closing down on Eros, and one must remember he has now completed the required compound of tires to be both compounds of tires to be used. So now, Fran can just run the quicker compound until the end and challenge Eros, especially at the very end.
Yeah, well, speaking of David Feidick, here comes Emmanuel Gagzella, who's going to storm past, no pun intended, the 2014 Super League champion. Absolutely leaves him for dead in turn one, and Gagzella storms through, and the points deficit increases now for Feidick.
And I think this is going to only get worse, because at this point, as we know, he just does not have the top speed, and it was him not being able to get past those two drivers in front of him that just got him out of from another position and back into 8th. I think that that setup decision must have been from Nostra, it has just not been correct.
We have a Daniel Brewer out of the race with suspension problems. The battle of the Daniels comes to the end.
Yes, that's very sad to see, but that is a car now out of the race.
He actually pulled over to the track. Oh, he lost his rear wing. What happened was, he got 2 offline through the S's, tried to save it, didn't save it, smashed it in the wall, lost his rear wing, race over for Brewer, unfortunately. Such a tricky compound, the S's to get through.
Yes, also now Gagzella on the very back end of Francesconi is going to be attempting a move, possibly on the Italian.
Well, Manuel Gagzella on Michael Francesconi. Michael Francesconi in the pits, that won't happen. But he has a look at Daniel Benefield. He has a little run on the Italian here, potentially. The Australian, who, after passing the Italian, is going to get DRS. So maybe Benefield has a little bit of Romanian cuisine to think about here.
Yes, I think Gagzella will be just behind him for the next lap, so he will be on a mission. And last lap, he did the quickest first sector of anyone throughout this race. So, to be honest, Emmanuel is on a mission, and I think just a new set of tires, and that's exactly what happens with Emmanuel. But I think he's not going to keep that pace for very long. He just does. We've seen it over and over again over the last few races, and he has superb pace for a couple laps, and then starts to drop off.
Well, look at where Emmanuel Gagzella is right now. This is a precarious position for Daniel Benefield. He does not want the 2013 Formula Challenge champion right there behind him at all.
No, no one would really, and you can see how much more comfortable Emmanuel is for those corners. Gagzella just so confident. It's just because of the new tires. The tires, or fresh enough tires at the very least, which just allow you to grip and get confidence, as we see Daniel Brewer just slightly sliding left and right throughout the middle apex of the corner.
Yeah, you can argue Gagzella, a bit of a veteran in the GPVWC. He's been racing here since 2005. Although I think he did more races in his return in 2013. That sort of time that he did in 2005. Is he trying to go for Benefield? Has the straight line speed. Benefield really can't do anything about this. He's not too far ahead, but he's far ahead enough for it to be a significant difference. And through goes the remaining Gagzella into the top 5 again.
And that's indeed Gagzella back into top 5. And interestingly enough, Francesconi in that pit stop went for the harder compound of tires. So, interestingly enough, as Gagzella makes the best first sector of anyone again throughout this race, Francesconi will be now attempting to just not lose time to David Faddock or gain it, and hopefully come out in front of Benefield after he pits in as well.
Yeah, and well, it's going to be an interesting little battle list, that much is said. Roy Schroten, let's just give a shout out to Roy Schroten here. P4 in that Woods car. The Dutchman has really had a stellar race so far here, and this is going to massively help Woods.
Yes, he will definitely. That will be an amazing result if he can keep it together. And as he pits in fact. And honestly, after a week ago in Atlantic Series, as I've said, he finished second and he was challenging for the win throughout that race. Honestly, I am not that surprised he's able to go so quickly around here. He's a very good driver.
Yeah, he is a great driver, is Roy Schroten, and he is not one to be, under-expected of. You can always expect something good from Roy, and he's going to come out of the pits in P7, and that's going to put Benefield 5th, Gagzella 4th, Gaia 3rd, Lopez 2nd, Mashuli still the race leader. Fiddick 6th, though. David Fiddick is 6th, so he's starting to hold the points back.
Yes, he is, but again, it's not exactly. There are still pit stops coming and going, and we'll see exactly where he ends up by the end. There's a lot of strategy that we're not seeing exactly.
If I could just chime in real quick again on the broadcast, you'll probably hear me every now and then just popping in little tidbits of info over the broadcast. As Fighter has a little moment there at the hairpin, but just on Gagzella, I just have noticed through the early part of the race, he seemed to be having quite a few lockups. We saw a couple of them on the broadcast. I think that may not be helping his tyre wear. It may sort of explain why he seems to sort of drop off the pace so extremely. If you lock up these tyres too much and they start overheating, they just completely fall away from you. So just a little bit of a tidbit there I've noticed while watching Emmanuel in this race so far. I just seem to be struggling a little bit under brakes at certain parts of this circuit.
That would explain a lot, actually, to be honest, because in our Factor 2, that's actually quite usual for the tires to have those issues. And in these cars, the tires go off so quickly that this is very specific. As we have Gagzella actually having the fastest lap, as you say, very, very quick.
Well, I was saying he's quite talented, Gagzella, Formula Challenge champion. His debut season here in 2005 never finished lower than 4th in the races he entered. He is quite something indeed on his day. He can be quite spectacular. And a race winner this season too. Let's not forget.
That's very impressive, yes. And to not finish below 4th throughout this very long season, I must remind you, it's quite amazing. And one driver who's actually doing the fastest laps, well, he did the quickest lap of his own on the harder compound of tire is Marco Francesconi.
Yeah, that was 2005, the season I was talking about, Kacper.
Yes,
but,
of course.
Not this season, of course.
Yes,
but,
no, of course.
And yeah, Francesconi, P9, Rachel, P8, bit of a battle going on there. Although, if you want impressive stats, David Fiddick's 2014 championship win, he never finished off the podium, and he finished every single race. That has only been done once before. In 2000, I think it was 2000, I'll have to go consult the history books, but it was done by the most successful driver in GPVWC history, triple world champion Steve Alejewski.
Oh wow, yes, that is quite an amazing feat as well. Also, as Fidek nearly drives right into the back end of Benefield, coming through the last couple corners.
Yeah, Benefield fighting, definitely a battle that we need to keep an eye on as well, because it involves one of our championship challengers, and absolutely one. Keep an eye on P9 though as well. Francesconi versus Redshaw, again, a battle to keep an eye on. As well, through goes Francesconi with the aid of the DRS. Redshaw down to 9th. I think that Woods car is probably lacking a bit of straight line speed.
Yes, possibly quite a little bit. They do have the Trinity power, which is not one of the really top power engines. They of course don't have any upgrades of the power in their car. They only have fuel consumption and mapping, which go hand in hand. So yes, it's one of the two engines are quite different.
Yep, and two different engines in those cars, and I can confirm it's 2006 when Lenchevsky took that feat that only David Feidiger's match, so only done twice in the history of Super League. But nonetheless, this Redshaw Francesconi battle seems to have petered off a bit, unfortunately. Redshaw now dropping behind, and Francesconi having taken the advantage there. I would like to divert your attention now to somewhere else, but there isn't really anything happening.
This is the kind of we're back into the kind of mid part of race, which as we have Fidek actually closer to Benefield than ever before. And that's quite interesting. But I don't think he's quite gonna be able to do it. Yeah, the DRS on this car, as Thomas Hinss is actually pointing out, is just not quite able to catch up to this Red Archer, but then he catches up so much in the corners. But now he, even right behind, having his slipstream and DRS, he just cannot close up.
Can't do it. No, it's not working out for him. And that is not going to help out. But look at this. We're going to battle on for P5 still. Oh, we're commentating on that.
Yes.
Joshua,
exactly
you are not in touch with the times, man.
Not really.
Well,
but
he is close now. He is close now, David Fidek.
But he has been. As we have Roy Schoten actually catching up to the two, so that's very interesting. But at this point, Fidek is so close behind Benefield, but he's never going to be able to catch him through a straight line. But even if Fidek was able to overtake him through this slow section, Benefield would just get DRS and just smoke right past Fidek. As Fidek makes a bit of a mistake, and Benefield actually goes into pits.
In goes Benefield. P5 then for Fidek. Not catching Masudi on pace, but closing down the points deficit. Certainly, the Australian Benefield comes into the pits. Michael Francesconi should probably get through, although he would have if he wasn't pitting. Lewis Renshaw might, though.
And actually, Francesconi in pits. That's early for this set of tires.
Well, maybe he just wants to get off those tires. He goes onto the yellow band, soft tires. Maybe just wanted off the mediums.
Maybe he was doing very good times at one point, but I think he just wanted to make sure that he's on the better tires now, and so he does. And he has now completed his requirement for the harder compound of tires, and he may have just felt that he can still be in front of Fidek even after after additional pit stops because of the way he was driving.
Yep, indeed, and giving it all that he can do, Michael Francesconi, to get the most points for Adonis. And it is going to be key in all this. Oh, Dowie Tapper ahead of Eros Masudi. Just had a little bit of a do there. Luckily, nothing came of it. And, well, further down the road from them, obviously Tapper in P13. Trying to go for Tom Parker in P12. Then it's Mike Quinton in the pits behind them. Adrian Moreton 14. Tobias Olsen and Mark Wicks rounding out the field. Mark Wicks, though, great to see him having a solid, if not quick, good to see him having a solid race.
Yes, he's doing alright and he is the last of the Carnaus to be driving, so he'll be hoping for some points possibly. And just two retirements needed, or just gaining 2 places on track.
Might be hoping to grab a point, Wixie. Of course, the current most experienced active driver in the Super League. 140 races before this one. This will be number 141 for Mark Wicks, and he's been here since 2002. Great to still have him with us, of course.
Yes, it's absolutely great to see the drivers. As we have Benefield actually keeping the position with Fidok, even though he put in earlier for, I think the harder set. No, he's on the softer compounds as well. So yes, Benefield just having that bit of an edge by the, even though he did take that pit stop. Fidok must be frustrated.
Back down to 8th is David Fidek. He's onto the softs and, well, back behind Benefield, back behind Red Joe, Schroten, Gaxala Gaia, Lopez Machuli.
And honestly, Francesconi at this point must be he's a little bit behind, but he's only 10 seconds behind. So if he can, overtake Ben Horrell quickly enough, which he's actually fighting with currently, I think is going to possibly end up in a battle between Fidok and Francesconi again later on in the race.
Well, it could happen. It could happen, and Horrell is having a good run in 9th. Speaking of Francesconi, although Francesconi giving it a little bit of a chase down to the Welshman now. Fidek to be in P8. Well, he'll want to try and get past Benefield on the start finish. He knows that Nordstrom car is better than the Red Archer, although there isn't that much in it these days. He will want to try and go through. In comes Red Show into the pits. This is potential P6 for David Fidek. Has the DRS slide, gets the DRS, opens the DRS, starts to get near the rev limiter, and I think he's topped out. He has topped out at 337, and Benefield is quicker. He does not have the gearing. That might be why.
Yes, I think that's one of the reasons. And by the way, Francesconi has gone past Ben Horrell, and now he's only 10 seconds behind Fidok. Fidok beating...
Fidek goes second wind here into turn 4. Well, good defensive line from Benefield stops that.
That was very good drawing from Benefield, leading
Although
just
here comes Fidek down the inside, and was the contact.
There was definitely a contact, but thankfully neither of the drivers are actually damaged.
Luckily, no contact that may have caused anything more serious to occur. It's getting a little bit close now.
Yes, but Fidok has to find a way through corners as Florian Gyrin pits.
Gyrin, yes, Fidek has got to do something. Somehow, he's got to figure out a way to get through, and it's not currently happening for the Brit. The Englishman even, but nonetheless, he's got to try if he wants to close this points deficit. Maybe he won't have the gearing down in the front straight, but he can have another go at the turn 4 if Benefield doesn't go too defensive again.
And
Yes, he can.
Look how close he is! Well, he won't have the gearing, we know that, but if he can get through before he tops out, which might not happen, if he can get through before he tops out, he might just stand a chance, but nope, it's not happening. Benefield's got the advantage even without the DRS.
Yes, he does, and again, that's what we've been seeing with that car, just not quite able to do it in the straights. But now he'll be trying to make a move into turn 4 once again.
Yeah, he's going to try in turn 4. Look how close he is again. David Fidek, surely he's going to do it this time. Runs around the back of Benefield, looks to the left, looks to the right, choosing the inside. He's going to have one shot at it. Into turn 4, outbreaks Benefield, and gets the job done there. Chose his moment, picked his moment, took the moment in his hands, and ran riot with it. David Fidek into P6.
Very well done from David Fidek. That was a very good move, and honestly, that was all what he had to do. And now we'll see if Benefield can actually keep up with him to any degree, but I don't think so.
Well, we'll see if he can, but it's not looking likely for the Aussie at this present moment. Look how quick, look how far Fidek's got ahead already. Next on his list is Roy Schroten, who's witnessing the Gaia trying to get past Olsen battle, which has succeeded, and now Roy has to try and get past Tobias Olsen as well.
Yes, and I think he's going to manage that. Of course, Olsen is being lapped, and he is being shown blue flags.
Yeah, all of the blue flags, as Sebastian Vettel would say. Well, Sebastian Vettel, I'm sure he loves blue flags. Being lapped by a blue car, indeed, Tobias Olsen. So quite topical there. And, well, the red number 9 car of Roy Schroten there. Getting into a good P5, potential P4 charge. Of course, his teammate, Lewis Redshaw, in that number 8 car, is all the way down in 12th. So, got to do well as Roy.
Oh, David Fidek will have to pull something really, really good now if Francesconi is going to keep on doing those laps, because Francesconi is closing in at half a second a lap now, doing the fastest lap of anyone throughout this race.
Yep, he is going to have to try something, David Fidek. And, well, it's going to be a points finish for him again, continuing this run of points finishes at this rate that he's had. You know, every single Super League race he's ever done has been a points finish. You know, he is consistent in that sense, and we can guarantee it'll be good points position if he can keep this up, but not enough to stop Eros Mashuli from taking championship lead. It's a 15-point swing, which means 11-point lead for Mashuli if all stays as is.
Yes, actually we missed Eros Mashuli just pitting in last lap. So Eros now in front of Fran Lopez by 7 seconds.
Yep, 7 seconds is the gap between Lopez and Gaxala. Although, look at this, Lopez actually under threat from Dawei Tapper, who's threatening to unlock himself. Bit of a surge from the Dutchman going on here.
I think Fran is really trying to save his tires for as long as he can. He's already been on them for a very long time, actually. At this point, it's actually about 15, 16 laps. And that's actually very long for... Or actually, no, it's actually not that terribly long, but it is long for Fran Lopez, who's been killing his tires very quickly.
Yeah, Lopez has got to watch the tyres, because otherwise he'll find a Tapper of the Dawei variety going through. Oh, it gets a bit of a... I think he had a little bit of a lag spike, maybe, but a bit of oversteer. Tapper into the back of Lopez. Needs to watch himself, does Dawei, if he's going to unlock himself. And, well, Fran Lopez apparently just did the fastest lap of the race.
Eros.
Mashuli, sorry. Mashuli did. I thought Lopez did. Never mind.
No, Lopez just got a bit hit in the back a little bit, and I would be very surprised to see him doing the fastest laps of the race with those tires.
Yeah, I was about to say, with those tires, how could he do that? But Eros does go fastest again. David Feidig, this is nightmare fuel for Feidig pretty much, as Gagzala now exits the pits, having entered the pits, and he is dropped down to P5 because Roy Shorten's back into P4. David Feidig in P6 still.
Yes, and he'll be very disappointed with this, considering he did start from the pole position. And to be honest, Eros, I don't think he could have dreamed for more so far if the race was to end just like this.
I think it was that lap one that did it for him, to be honest with you.
It did, yes, I do think so. That must have been about 6 or 7 positions lost by Feidig on the start. It was something I did not expect at all, considering I was picking him for the winner.
Well, it may have turned out that did cost him more than we thought. I'm going to see if I can look back and see what actually happened at the start. I don't think I ever caught it. Yeah, coming around into turn 1, I think he might just... It is a bit too laggy for us, actually, but may just have run a little bit wide in turn 1, and that's what caused it. Unfortunately for David Feidig, it just goes to show how one mistake or one incident can ruin your whole race.
Yeah, that's basically it, isn't it? It's just a small... It's not just that. He was in the middle of all cars, and what actually happened was him not having the top speed, and what we've been seeing throughout this race. I think that's exactly what happened to him at the very start of the race. That's why he lost so many places.
Well, perhaps that is the truth, but what it has cost him is 51 seconds to Eros Mashuli, and that is a gap he's not easily going to make up. I mean, with 61% of the race done, it's not like he's got much time either. Although we have seen bigger comebacks before.
I mean, you never can discard the possibility of someone winning. I mean, at this point, for all we know, Mark Wicks can win this somehow. It's very unlikely, but it is possible.
I mean, take Fran Lopez. We didn't think he was going to win in America, and he went and did.
Well, yes, he did on track, yes.
On track, yes, of course, penalties played into that, but he took the provisional win.
Yes, of course, and we have seen what he's capable of. Catching up, what was it, 5 seconds within about 3 or 4 laps? It was something out of a tail more than anything.
Well, if David Feidig can channel his into Fran Lopez, maybe we could see him gain a couple of those seconds back. Maybe we could see him challenging for 3rd by the end of this race. But, you know, it would take something quite special regardless. Maybe he's got it in him. Maybe he's got him in him, as I think I just heard Parker there. Yeah, Rachel Parker, P11, P12. Tom Parker, a very experienced driver as well.
By the way, there's a battle for P2 now because Fran Lopez was in pits, and now he's under pressure from Florian Geyer.
Well, sorry, Tom's going to kill me for doing this, but we're going to go to this battle for P2 between Lopez and Parquez. Lopez and Geyer even. Dominic, Josh, get your English together. And it's Florian Geyer who has the DRS, who doesn't have the speed advantage though. He's 4 kilometers down, even with DRS.
That is, I think we've seen it so far, and I think we're learning something that I've been talking about so many times this season. At Spa for Vodbull, I think at Monza for Vodbull as well, where they had just the wrong setup on the tracks that require a lot of top speed to overtake. You cannot just set up your car in 4 corners and expect to be quick. and to expect to overtake other drivers. You can be very quick for corners, but it's going to be a lot more difficult to be able to get past slower drivers.
It is, yes, it's not going to be easy, and I think Florian Gaia, with that speed deficit, is not going to really be in it with a shout of catching Fran Lopez unless you can get him in the corners, which is not happening by the looks of it, although Lopez runs a little wide there. Let's hope he isn't overheating his tyres too much.
He's actually done the fastest first sector of anyone. The middle sector was a little bit slower than a lot of drivers, in fact, and I think that's exactly him running wide.
Well, we'll have to hope that Fran Lopez does not burn those tyres out, because otherwise he'll be in the pits again. And he certainly doesn't want that, although Florian Gaia might want that.
He will definitely.
He would definitely want that. It means an extra position for him. DRS for Gaia. We know he's not got the straight line speed in turn 1, and he's not close enough to try anything in turn 4. Maybe not this lap then for Thor, but he has to start making the gaps reduced.
Honestly, I think Fran is going to have to pit in at the very least one more time. He's only about 60... No, as far as I know, on these tires he can do about 12, 13, 14, 15% of the race, and, well, we have a lot more than that still to go.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Michuni's 34 seconds ahead of Lopez, sure. But the gap between second and, I don't know, 7th is only about 20 seconds. It just goes to show how far the head leader is.
Yes, and Eros just having an amazing race so far, even though he did start off with only taking second into the first corner and Fran running away. But that shows how much tire management it counts for in this series.
Yeah, and well, Roy Shorten must be doing a good job of that to be in P4. I mean, he's 7 seconds ahead of Gagzala, 6 seconds behind Gaia, in a bit of a lonesome world at the moment, the Woods driver, but still 4th would really help affairs for the team run by none other than Ollie Woods, hence the name. They've been around for a long time as well, haven't the Woods? Been very much a staple of the top tier competition in Super League and GPVWC.
Well, that's good to see them still going on then. And luckily I'm not very well versed in the history, so I wouldn't really know.
This needs to change. Get your things together, man.
Oh, studying and trying to get all the history from GPVWC, that's going to be difficult.
Oh, it's not really. Just all you have to know is that Jason Andine won the first one, Steve Lechevsky won 3, and then the reigning champion is Filip Pushka, but probably not for much longer.
Well, we definitely know not in one race time after Interlagos. He's definitely not going to be the champion. But to be honest, he was very much going for the title win here, unless something really dramatic happened, and of course it did, unluckily. And really too bad we couldn't see him to the very end of the season.
I'm sure if Filip Pushka was able to do the full season, he would have been right up there in contendership all the while. Unfortunately, though, he's not, and that is a shame. Hopefully, we'll see him back in 2017. Health issues have not been his friend this season. And, well, we do wish that Filip does recover and is back with us for 2017.
Yes, very much wish him the best, and hopefully he can get back here. As we have a battle between Muscat and Redshaw currently, and they're very close, but no, Redshaw nearly crashing out.
Well, this is points, potentially, for Woods, if they can get this position done, and, well, since the... Oh, look at this, it's a bit feisty, this. Lewis Redshaw giving it everything he's got, throwing every single trick in the book at Jason Muscat, but it is not working out. The Maltese is staying ahead.
There's actually points for Woods anyway. They're in the top 15, of course, but yes, quite good points.
I think he is pushed. Oh, hops over. Something is Redshaw. Left, right. I think he is pushing it too hard. Tom Parker goes through on Lewis Redshaw there. That is not gone well for him.
He was so lucky not to hit that wall. That was a bit of a bump in the track that I don't think anyone could see because it was not visible. It's just there in a physics layer of the track, and I think he's going to have to go to pits pretty soon because those tires won't be very drivable for very long.
That scared me. Tom Parker pits out of all people, but that scared me for certain. I thought he was going out, but he held it. Great job, Lewis, back into P10 after that pit stop, but now he can resume the charge towards Muscat, and that was a scary one, but look what's scary for Fran Lopez. Florian Gaia straight back behind him.
Yes, that I was about to mention as well. This is very exciting, just 0.4 of a second. But now Guy will have to just try not to lose anything in on the main straight because, as we know, he just cannot catch up to Lopez.
Fran Lopez going as defensive can be. Not like he needs to because he's got the straight line speed. But Gaia, nonetheless, has the DRS, but it ain't going to be enough. He's not going to catch up. He's got to do something on the brake and gets a really harsh braking there. And, well, let's see what happens down this back straight again. Probably won't be much, but DRS enabled. Let's see if Florian can gain more time on Fran.
Yeah, he's not quite close enough at this point, but he is now getting to his favorite part, or his car's favorite part, especially, where he can gain quite a lot on Lopez, but it's going to be difficult to overtake Lopez and then keep it, because at this point, if he overtakes, how is he going to keep it on the straight? I don't think he can.
Well, it's not probably, it's going to be difficult for Florian if he does overtake. If he gets through on the straight, it's how he's going to keep it. Because we know he has he has the deficit in the straights. But, Lopez off, Lopez wide. Is this potentially tyre wear coming in for the Spaniard? Florian Gaia, of course, we know is great on the brakes, great in the corners. We know, in America at least, he did a couple of lunges. And, well, we know that he's doing a Gaia, but let's see if he can go and do this second place gaining manoeuvre. Won't happen yet, but he can try and close the gap.
I think he's starting to lose. I think honestly he's starting to lose a bit of time. At least he did over this lap. So at this point, I think Fran Lopez is starting to slightly pull away, and it's nearly a second gap already.
Yeah, Francesconi Benefield for P7. Let's keep an eye on that too, because Daniel Benefield under threat from the Italian here. More points for Adonis if Michael can get through. That will help them in the Constructors' Championship.
Yes, of course, and this is still very close between the two constructors, but at this point, of course, Norton under with quite a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, I have a points advantage of 14 points, and I think even with the win that Mashuli is set to get, that's not going to change.
I very much doubt it. Francesconi just not quite able to be close enough to really score enough points to outpoint Florian and David. Well, really in total. I think they're going to be very close, as you said.
It's going to be a close one. Benefield gets a little bit of a step out there as Francesconi keeps chasing him. Ahead we have Fidek Gagzala is a battle. This is an interesting one because Fidek is closing in on the Romanian here. And this could be P5 for the championship leader.
Yes, that is going to be a lot of damage limitation more than anything to be P5 after such a terrible, terrible start to this race. As Francesconi is also behind Benefield, and this is going to be an interesting two battles to keep an eye on. Keep two eyes on, really.
Well, we have Thomas Hinss's eyes, we have Kacper's eyes, we have my eyes. I don't think we can afford any more eyes in the comments booth at the moment as Gagzala under serious threat from Fidek. Now, we know that Nolchin is not strong in a straight line, and that little step out on the back is not going to help. Lights the rears up. Roy Schroten in the pits, but he goes through to P5 anyway. It's now for P4 for David Fidek. Does he have the differential that he needs on the straight? I don't know whether he does. He does just, but it isn't enough. He has a speed advantage, but it isn't enough of a speed advantage. So he closes in. Is he going to try something into turn 4? He did it before. Can he do it again this time on Emmanuel Gagzala? Oh, no, he can't! Back goes a gout for David Fidek, and that is going to put pay to that.
That's going to put him under pressure from Daniel Benefield, possibly in Michael Francesconi, to be honest. So this could be big, big changes for Fidek again and losing a lot of places, possibly.
Yeah, Benefield's got defensive job on Francesconi. Mark Wicks gets very sensibly out of the way there. Great job of him to just move out of the way. That is, good back marking. And Francesconi chasing. Fidek there, not long up the road. That's going to put a fire in Benefield's eyes. He wants to defend from Francesconi. Francesconi wants to overtake both of them. But it's going to take a little bit longer to get to Fidek than it is Benefield. And he's dropping off now, is Michael.
Yes, and I think that's just him having a bit of an arrow push, to be honest. 30 air just affecting the car a little bit too much. But Francesconi will have fire in his eyes to really overtake Fidek and regain quite a bit of points for his team in the championship standings in both team and for really help Eros.
Yeah, it's going to be key for him to get as many positions as he can as he now pits. Does David Fidek potentially? Going to be his last pit of the race, unless if he's going to mix the tyres, he's going to go on last. McNaughton coming out of the pits. Benefield goes through. Francesconi in the pits. Roy Schwan's going to gain 2 positions in this. And Fidek, what does he do? He pulls in onto the jacks, onto the soft tyres. Maybe one more stop in it, but if he can make these last 20 laps, it would be something special.
Yes, it will be very special, and it will be. Although to be honest, at this point we do have quite a lighter car, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was trying to pull it off. But it will be very difficult, and he will be starting to lose a lot of time by the end. But now Francesconi is on the exact same strategy, so this is a battle that's on. 3 seconds between the two, it appears to be.
Well, Michael Francesconi, I think, is actually being blue flagged for his own teammates. Eros Mashuli here. Michael will try and get out of the way as soon as he can. And, well, no team orders this time around. That's that much for saying no team orders this time around. It's for getting past a lapped car. And that just goes to show how far ahead Eros is. He's about to lap his own teammate. He's in P8.
Yes, it's very interesting because at this point Eros will be the quickest driver on track. Or it shouldn't be the quickest driver on track, but he will be in front. But Francesconi will be on fresher tires, so he possibly will be quicker. So he is pulling away now, but I think I've seen Eros make a mistake. So we'll see how that goes, but I don't think he will catch up to Michael anytime soon.
Yeah, and Michael has got to try and stay ahead if he wants to not go a lap down, although I think with the Donuses being where they are, hardly makes a difference, does it? Florian Guy is still holding a solid P3 for Nolston, let's not forget. We haven't talked about him much, but he's still solidly staying there is Florian Guy. Gagzella 4th, Benefield 5th, Schroten 6th, Fidek 7th. That one mistake has cost him big time.
By the way, we had a bit of a spinner, but that was Tobias Olsen quite far back.
Yeah, Olsen in that Hawkeye, still in the points though, so doing a decent job for Hawkeye, getting as many points as he can for them.
Yes, although now he's under pressure from Quint in another Hawkeye.
Well, it is Battle of the Hawkeyes for the points. In that sense, we'll go to Mike Quint and go on. We'll watch Mike Quint as he tries to get past Tobias Olsen. Has a speed advantage. Does he go for it in turn 1? No, he doesn't.
No, I'll let you know if I see something happening on track, but the only thing I can really see happening is Gar coming up on Lopez, and that's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah, there's not really as many battles happening now. It usually comes in the last 10 laps where things really start to heat up. But nonetheless, that could be an interesting one to watch. I think I'm going to go pick some food now, actually, so I'm going to leave you to commentate on the lack of action. And Hinsey can join!
Yes.
Oh, no.
I'm the master of joining in randomly and multitasking, not really. But so one thing, actually, I'll just quick as Tobias has gone off, so it's gonna give Mike the little bit of a light bulb moment there, I guess, in the eyes. But one thing I'm noticing just on board at the moment with Mike is that I think he's got some steering damage because he's pulling left on that car pretty severely. So yeah, he's crabbing not too nicely there, Kacper. So I think he's nursing a pretty heavily damaged, or a fairly damaged car right now.
Yes, I do think so as well. I can see that now. Thanks for mentioning it. I don't typically look on onboards too much, but he is struggling to get that car through the final sections just to keep it straight. But he is still going to probably attempt to possibly overtake his teammate. Just hopefully they're going to keep it sensible more than anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, as we know, I mean, Hawkeye will take any points they can get right now. So hopefully for their sake, they'll be nice and sensible. I mean, one more time and they'll be in for a double points finish, which I think Hawkeye will definitely very much take at this point. So yeah, hopefully for their sake they'll be nice and sensible here and just keep it on the straight and narrow, so then keep it together and have a bit of luck go their way. They might get a double points finish for all you know. So also a shout out, I was mentioning just to you guys before, GSR Green Stripes both in the top 10 at the moment, 9th and 10th for Horrell and Parker, so strong stuff from them. So good to see them getting some really solid points for their campaign.
Yeah, very well done for Green Stripes. And also what's interesting is Francesconi, I've seen, he was struggling quite a bit for the middle sector for the beginning of it. And I think it just may be the tires is slightly going off into the point where you have to treat them with care. But he is actually, I think he's keeping the distance or slightly losing to Fidek. So Fidek doing a really, really good job so far. Although last lap was quicker from Francesconi.
Yeah, indeed.
But this time I think it's going to be slower.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just so interesting to see the gaps, just the lead errors for Scotty. Really is just so far ahead of everybody else right now. He's been able to lap so consistently and so quickly in that car. It really is quite incredible. I mean, was it 35 seconds or thereabouts to Fran Lopez now? So very dominant performance so far. But yeah, as we can see, Fran again under pressure from Flo. But we've seen this battle already, and we've seen how this all plays out with the Red Archer and the Nordge Jones, so whether that will change, I'd be surprised, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on it anyway. But yeah, it's just really interesting to see the difference in top speed. It is just so exaggerated with that car. I mean, pretty much any car that they've had to overtake probably barring the Woods, they really have struggled to overtake that Norjo.
Yes, it's very much an issue with that Norton. As I said, I think it's just a setup blunder more than anything. They are we have seen them very quick in qualifying. Let's be clear, and we have seen them very quick along just one single lap or in a clean air. But the problem is when they get behind the driver, and that's something you also have to think about. As he's trying for a move from Fran Lopez, as he makes a mistake.
That was very close. Yeah, he went for had a little bit of a look down the inside. It was a bit of a sort of half look sort of deal. I think he wasn't 100% committed until the very end there, and by that point Fran had already turned in. So yeah, it was sort of a bit of a I either go off and avoid contact or I run into him. So yeah, almost a bit of a moment there. They managed to avoid contacts. That's good to see. But yeah, no, it's interesting that you mention it like that, because it does kind of, it reminds me a bit of almost like Mercedes in a way in real F1 with how their cars are set up. You know, a lot of the time, you know, in clean air, they're just, you know, no one catches them. They're just unbeatable. But once they get in traffic, they start to have issues, and that's just, you know, because obviously most of the time they're running in clean air. So why would you not set up the car like that? So it's just interesting that Norjo and here seem to have a bit of a similar sort of thing going on here, where if they're in clear air, they're really fast, or they're, you know, they're on pace. They're not necessarily, you know, too slow at least. But once they're in traffic, they just seem to really struggle. And as you say, I think a lot of it is down to that gearing. They're just geared for qualifying and or one lap pace. So a bit of an interesting dynamic between the teams. But those Red Archers, they're definitely geared for the straights, because they've got some serious straight line speed in those things.
Yes, I think they're possibly the quickest team of anyone really in the straight line. That's what it appears to me like it is the case. And honestly, yes, with the Mercedes situation, I think that's kind of like that. Although to be fair, the Mercedes cars are really good in a straight line. So the Mercedes engine is very good, of course, in Formula 1. I think more of a situation like that would be maybe like 2012, 2011 Red Bull.
Yeah.
I think that's more closer to what we're seeing right here.
Yeah, more accurate. Yeah, comparison. Yeah, but no, it's quite fascinating to watch, as I think... Is that a... Oh, no, okay, I don't know. It was my timing. Having a little moment. But yeah, again, shout out to Roy Schroten for Woods. Really impressive stuff from him in fifth. He does have, as we can see, that could be an interesting battle as well, because you've got Roy there in fifth. Emmanuel's not too far ahead of him either, but behind him and closing in is Feinek, and then obviously behind him and also sort of keeping station is Francesconi. So we could have a three-way battle that could develop at the end, depending how things all pan out strategy-wise. But a little bit of a fascinating little battle we might have the back end of the 5.
As we have Florian Geyer and Fran Lopez in for the final time.
Ooh,
so this is going to be an interesting battle of pit stops.
Well, as you were mentioning before, Norjo investing heavily in those pit crews. So, and I think it may have helped. They're gonna be side by side nearly. Oh, I think you might have him. There you go. Wow. Although, Fran's having a look down the inside, but Guy's just going, no, thank you. Oh, it's contact. Oh, Fran is still on the... Oh, there's still contact. Unbelievable. Just wheel-banging stuff. Yeah, and he's going to actually get through, I think, as well. Yeah, he's got through. That was just manic out of the pit exit there. I think it was, just Fran, you know, he just wanted to obviously get in the inside there, and Flo just would not give him the space. And then in the end, he stuck it out. Like, credit to Fran, like, he was on the grass most of the way down that straight, and he still held onto it. So, fascinating stuff. But also, interesting with that is that Fran on the soft, Flo on the medium. So, that's interesting strategy call there.
Yes, that's very interesting, and that means that Geyer will be quite a bit quicker by the end. But Lopez, I think that was just a testament to what we were talking about the top speeds of the Norton compared to the Red Archer. I think that's basically the entire story in just one frame. Yeah,
well, I mean, the Red Archer was pretty much half off the track, and it still was able to get past the Norjon. So yeah, bit of a telling sign there. But we did have a yellow as Mike Quint pits from 15th. We did have a yellow flag in Sector 3. I didn't catch what that was for. I'm assuming someone had a spin or something. But yeah, so Quint pits from 15th there in the Hawkeye. And yeah, so all that settled down, I think, towards the back, just going through those guys further back through. I think they've all sort of died down in those battles, the back end of the points. Adrian Norton, too, another one in the points for, so that would be double points for Storm. Bit of a quiet one for him so far. He's just kind of been going along his own sort of space at the moment. But still would be double points for Storm. Sure, they'll be very happy with that to continue their form. But yeah, a bit interesting. Also, shout out to Tapper in 12th at the moment, which would be more points for Nijo. And I know that they would happily take as many points as they can get, so that'd be a good result for them as well.
Yes, and at this point, I think a lot of teams will be happy that they are in the points running an 83% complete in the race by now.
I think it's 90% though now, I think, is the new rule, officially. So,
yes, it is. Yes,
yeah.
it is. But so it's still a little bit to go. It's still
nearly
a
there.
good few laps. But they're still very getting close to there. As Fran Lopez on his first sector since the change of tires, I think, or maybe the first one. He already had the fastest first sector of anyone, which has just been taken away from him by Gaxella. So Fran Lopez on quite a bit of a mission.
Yeah, and Gaxella actually just pitted for tyres. So he's now come out behind this battle, and also I've got on the thing at the moment. Roy and David are now fighting. So Fikes already caught Stroden. He was about 3 or 4 seconds back a few laps ago, and he's already caught up to him. So it's going to be interesting to see if David can actually pass Roy, because the Woods, as we know, the Woods not the fastest in a straight line. So if the Nordjylland is going to be able to take any car down the straight, it should be the Woods. And if they can't do that, then you know how well they've geared it for corners. So we'll keep an eye on this. Again, Francesconi, he's only about 4 seconds back, and that's going to keep closing them all these two battles. So keep that in mind. And as we saw, Emmanuel's just pitted, so he's on fresh tyres, and he's just buying too. As here comes David now, and you look at this on the Woods. I mean, the Woods, we know it's not the quickest in a straight line. Look at that, Nordjylland just absolutely cruises by, like he's not even trying to go past Roy there, and that's an effective position for David. Goes up to 4th spot, and I wouldn't be surprised if Roy comes on the pump from Francesconi or even Emmanuel pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it's very much likely, and still amazing that he's still on a lead lap in that Woods car, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, no, for sure. And let's look at the gap, though. It's just quite incredible for Eris at the moment. 50 seconds to Fran Lopez. I'm assuming he may pit again, because I know the gap was only about 35 seconds before, but even if he does, it's still, 40-second gap is just unbelievable. It's just such a domination. It's even more Sebastian Vettel-esque than Sebastian Vettel back when he was dominating Red Bull. So it's just...
Let's be honest, Eros is just pulling away, and he's just dominating this race and has a perfect race so far. It's just a dream for a second to last race for him to do that, and David Fidek to have not such a great race.
No, he's played it perfectly. He just got that start, as we mentioned. He got the perfect start, kept clear of trouble, and he's just basically been running his own race all race long. So very commanding performance, but a stellar drive, no doubt about it. Just super consistent on the tyres, just been playing the strategy to perfection. I can't really fault him. There's no faults for him. It's just been one of those perfect races for him. So he'll be cruising now, I'm sure, because 10 laps to go thereabouts, and he's got nearly a minute to the second spot, so it'll be a cruise mode for him. But great stuff either way.
As Francesconi is coming back from over a second away from Schoten, and without the DRS, he nearly overtook him, but then he makes a mistake into the first corner.
Yeah, no, indeed. Just caught the tail end of that. Yeah, just bit too deep into turn 1. I'll see if I can get a replay on that. Yeah, I can actually without lag. But yeah, as you said, just see that straight line speed difference is just so immense between the two. The Wood's just looking like it's standing still, and he goes in and just goes in way too deep. Probably not quite used to the slipstream and how much speed he gained, and then just goes off the track. But either way, not really too much in the end. Just only lost like a second or two effectively. So, and he should be able to get past that Woods pretty quickly. I think Roy possibly going for a different strategy here. He's on the mediums. I think he's been on them for a little bit now. So probably going to try and push them to the end. So his pace is going to be a little bit suffering at the moment. But looking back through, Benefield's not too far behind Emmanuel either. So yeah, we'll have to see, but I think Roy could at least hold on to 7th. I think if he can just keep consistent, keep himself out of trouble here, I think 7th is within possibility, which I'm sure Woods would happily take that. Another double points for them is more valuable points for their development for next year.
Yes, that is definitely something they want to do, and top 7 is still a very good result for a car like the Woods. And now Francesconi is trying to overtake Schroten, and I think he's going to have it without an issue. And now DRS open.
It's just unbelievable, the difference, isn't it? Like, he's literally, and look, he gets in the slipstream and he still can't keep with him. It's just quite unbelievable. We know Woods obviously the lone Trinity engine users in this field and in this season, so not the strongest of engines, unfortunately, in the field, but they're still, again, as we said, it'd still be a great result for them. 2 top 10s, because Lewis Redshaw is still going. He's still in the top 10, so double top 10 for Woods. That would be a very good result for them. I'm sure they'd happily take the points, but Roy will have to keep an eye out now behind him because he's got Emmanuel Gazella coming at him at a vast rate of knots as he is on those fresh softs. So I'll keep an eye on that for you. And then Benefield, not too far back there in 8th, and then it's a pretty big gap back to Tom Parker in 9th. He's actually not too far ahead of Lewis Retshaw, come to think of it. So there could be a little bit of a battle there for P9 developing as well.
Speaking of Lewis Retshaw, he just did the fastest 2 last sectors of anyone in this race. In the woods, would you believe?
On the medium as well, which is interesting. So,
No, he's actually on the soft.
Oh, he's on the soft. Oh, hang on, let me have a look. Oh, he is. Sorry, yeah, my thing from a distance isn't updating. Yeah, but yeah, no, it is quite interesting. So it just shows again, that a bit like the Nordjone, through the corners, the woods is pretty speedy. But again, with that engine and with its sort of lackluster sort of straight line speed, it's not too surprising that they'd probably have focused a bit on the corners to try and gain back where they're losing. As I think Emmanuel has just got through. There he goes. Yeah, it's just past Schroten down the main straight. So there you go, Schroten down to 7th.
And now I think we may just about have Joshua Anderson back with us.
Just about, yeah.
So
I mean,
sweet.
yeah, I am here and I have food, which is the first. Well, not the first, but it's first time in a long time.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed that because we only have about 8 laps left, 7 laps left.
Yeah, I
eight
believe
laps
it's it.
left, I
Yeah,
think.
7 laps to go. So still keep an eye on. I'll keep an eye on this Redshaw battle because it is quite close and he is closing in at a decent rate of knots on Tom Parker. We know again that Woods is not the strongest car in the world in the straight line, so it may be a similar situation to what the Nordjones have had all race long. But I'll keep an eye on it for you anyway. Also shout out to Dawie Tapper now in 11th for Nijo. So some solid points for Nito there from Tapper, who's just sort of been keeping clear. He showed some decent pace though as well, to be fair. So not too bad from him. He's actually not got. He's also got Jason Muscat pretty close behind him as well there for 12th. So it might be another battle that might go on as Florian Guy pits, as does Tapper. So we'll see how this all pans out. Where is Flo going to come out? Actually, he's going to come out. Is he going to come out behind?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's going to give
Remember,
Fidek third.
He put it in at the same time as Fran Lopez. What is Geyer doing? I think Geyer just needed to get those harder compound tires out of the way for the regulation purposes. As Eris Mashuli just pits in for his final stop, I think he's just going to take the medium tires and just run away with it. I mean, with over 30 seconds of a lead, I don't think there's going to be much of an issue there.
No, yeah, well, he may as well take the free pit stop. Why not? So, yeah, makes sense. So, yeah, he'll keep it going. But, yeah, Guy has come out in 5th, so he has managed to beat out Gagzella there in the pit stops. So, he is going to be just behind Francesconi. But, again, we know that straight line speed is not great. So, if anything, he may have to watch out for Emmanuel behind him. So, we'll keep an eye on that. But he will be pacey, of course. So, we'll see how that goes. That could be a nice little battle there for 5th that might develop.
Oh.
But, yeah, Fidek 3rd. So, yeah, in the end, I'll tell you what, he's done.
I know what he's doing.
Oh, yeah. What's the play?
He is letting Fidek through. It's basically team play and trying to put pressure on Francesconi. I think that's all he's been doing, and that's why he put it in early, because he had the strategy. He was on the tire to the end of the race, and he could have possibly taken second, but I think that the idea is to get David Fidek to 3rd place and to lose as few points to Eris Mashuli as he can. That's just a team play. That's all it is.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So, yeah, there you go. But it's going to be 3rd for the moment from Fidek. He's looking comfortable. He's kept the gap to Francesconi. He's around to sort of 3-4 seconds thereabouts. So it's kept relatively stable. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. But yeah, it's looking like it could well be a podium for him, which, considering this race for Fidek has been far from ideal. I'm sure he'll happily take a podium from this. So, yeah, it would be a really good recovery drive from Fidek, and sure he'd happily take that 3rd spot. Just keep an eye on Guy, though. He's not really closing too much as of yet on Francesconi, although Francesconi looking like he's maybe catching ever so slowly onto Fidek. So, we'll see. This could be an interesting one. If this all comes together in the last couple of laps, you could have a pretty intense little fight here for the podium.
Yes,
I don't think you guys need me. You're doing such a good job on your own.
Oh dear, yes. Basically, that's all the updates you need, I think. Yeah.
Well, I feel pretty redundant now.
Oh no.
I can go back into my corner if you want.
No, stay, please do.
3 commentators were done too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because everyone likes to go 3-way.
Oh dear.
There
I'll
it
get
is.
fired
There it
now,
is.
but who cares? We need something. We need something. Nonetheless, Michael Francesconi, Florian Guy out very much going on here. And David Fidek, the beneficiary cause of that pit stop. Maybe it was to try and undercut Fran Lopez.
I seriously doubt it. Again, Fran Lopez and Geyer pitted in at the same time. Geyer had the strategy, had the tires, because he was on the harder competitive tires. Geyer, honestly, I highly doubt this was anything but a team play.
Well, we'll have to see in the end of it, but regardless, Fidek has gone through into P3, and that will really help to reduce the damage, because now the points gap has gone to 9 points, meaning it'll be a
Guy.
Oh,
Ooh.
Gaia tries it on Francesconi. Basically, nothing changes in the Drivers' Championship, although we change the positions. So that's a pretty major change in itself.
Into the final round as well, so it'll be quite fascinating. I'm just watching Guy. He really has, obviously being on his fresh softs, he's got a lot of pace. Had a little look there at Francesconi into the left-hander. It was another one of those sort of half looks down the inside, and you know, Francesconi, rightly so, they had the line, so he just shut the door on him. So yeah, interesting battles. I think. Oh, hello. I think Parker threw on Redshaw according to my HUD. Oh yeah, into turn 1. It looks like Parker. So Redshaw must have got past Parker, and now Parker's just retaking him. So there's a nice little ding-dong battle at the moment. This is for 9th between the GSR and the Woods. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. I'm not sure what that's for, but yeah. Interesting little battle here for 9th as well. But we'll keep an eye on, I think, that battle between Guy and Francesconi.
I think the yellows for Hurrell, I've just seen him go around.
Ah.
That'll explain that.
Oh, that battle between Redshaw and Parker. Oh my, that was side by side into corners, just switchbacks and cutbacks, and there were contacts, but I think they're all still going without any damage.
Well, we will have to see. That is for certain, as we are on lap 67, about to go on lap 68. 3 to go, and Erasmus surely 30 seconds ahead of Lopez. Surely, even for the Lopez, the Cup King, there's no comeback here. Oh, well, Francesconi Gaia still on. And still on to the point where Gaia almost makes contact.
Yeah, no.
And I think that he's doing his job perfectly. He's just having to make sure that Francesconi is under pressure, so he doesn't go nearly as quickly as if he was on his own.
Oh, he's just looking everywhere. He really is going for it. Like, he's being very, very aggressive right now with this, which is fair enough. It is the last few laps of the race. But again, keeping in mind, all this is just letting Emmanuel come at them. So he's now, within a second and a half or so of this battle? And they keep battling. He's just going to keep coming. So this is all helping him. He might well get into this 4th place battle. But it's interesting to see with this as well that Fidek ahead of them isn't really pulling away. He's keeping the gap. He's not really pulling away as much as I thought he would on these two, despite the fact they're battling. So it just kind of it sort of backs up what we've noticed with Fidek all race. His pace just hasn't really been there all race long. So, but yeah, look at this guy on Francesconi down the main straight.
Well, here he goes then, Florian Gaia on the outside of Michael Francesconi to turn 1. Brakes, and it's not enough. Well, it is. It is enough, although a little bit of contact there, but Florian Gaia does go through into P4, but not without contact.
How did that happen? That seemed like Michael just not having the speed after...
Oh, he's going around.
Oh, Francesconi round, and it's all falling apart for him now.
Yeah, he's so close to hitting Gizella as well there. He just about went into him. Like, I think he started to move, and then Gizella's just got through before his contact, very close. But, no, I think what happened with Francesconi there is I think he actually yielded to Gaia. Like, I think he saw what was coming, saw that corner, saw that complex, and went, you know what? I don't want to go side by side through there. I'm going to back out. And I think he just backed out of it. You know, thought the smarter play to just get to the M rather than cause have a big accident. So, yeah, drops to 6th, though. So, yeah, losing some more points lost for Adonis here.
The spin did not help, I will say that much. It has put him down 2 positions. Gagzala on for top 5. Going to be an Adonis 3-4. And this is really going to help them in the team's championships.
Yes, and I think that's really unlucky. Wait, Geyer in pits again?
He's in again! He is in again! What is with this?
This is not another team play, surely,
well,
is it?
It can't be, because Fidek's already ahead. Maybe there's damage of something, or maybe he has to serve a penalty of some sort. I don't know. His car went up on the jacks.
That seems very, very odd. And it's a very long pit stop. It's damage.
Well, he's got the revs up and he's out, but Gaia from 4th to 8th. Lewis Redshaw not going to get through. But, well, we are going to have to ask about this. Maybe a penalty. I don't know. Could be damage. Could be anything. But
I can tell you one driver who'll be very happy with this. Roy Shorten back up to 6th in that Woods car.
He is, yes, once up again. We're on lap 1771, second to last lap. 32 seconds between Lopez and Eros Missouri. No way is that gap coming down. Even for Fran Lopez, even with the most superhuman effort, it's probably going to be Missouri to the win here. And well, we're really all looking down for the best of the rest. Gaxella, Francesconi, probably the closest into a battle. Shorten in 6th. Going to go for P4 is Michael after that little incident. And well, he'll want to try and catch him anymore, but whether he will is yet to be seen. And it's looking not too likely. You have to gain 3 seconds off and just over 1 and a bit laps. Well, thank you for Thomas Hinss, who's going to be off again comms-wise, leaving the end to me and Kacper. And, well, what an end is going to be. I mean, there's a lot of takeaways from this, a lot of kebabs, number 5s, whatever you want to call them. But regardless of which, Eros Missouri round the final turn to start the final lap. The gap is over 30 seconds. He can just power off, just take it easy in the line if he wants now. He has nothing to worry about anymore. Probably going to come to a race when Fran Lopez, a very respectable second. He won the last, well, took effective provisional win here. He's going to take provisional second. Here, he's on some hot form, Lopez, this race, even though the win is just out of reach.
Yes, I think he's going to be very happy with 2nd place. He could have had a chance for the win, but I think what he'll need to work on is his pace is amazing, but I think his tire management is a bit lacking, and that's the thing he should be working on from now on. But honestly, if this is the speed he's putting out now, I think he's on a good road to being very, very quick and very putting up a good fight next season.
Yeah, indeed, and it is going to be a case of keep an eye on Fran Lopez. Keep an eye on him because he's shown some serious stuff this season. And even in that Red Archer, which isn't the most competitive car, he's gone for wins. Give him a proper top-line machinery, and goodness only once. God knows what he can do. Eros just entering the stadium section now. Going to take this race win by the look of it. I'm just trying to see if anything else is going on the track, but it doesn't look like it is. Looks like it is all Eros Missouri as he comes round turn 14, round turn 15, round the final turn 16 and 17. Took advantage of a good start, got through on the start, fended off opposition, and it's a key win for Eros Missouri here in Mexico. He will take the lead of the Drivers' Championship from David Feidick with that result. Fran Lopez is coming into the stadium section now, and a well-deserved P2 it is looking to be for the Spaniard. He led and won the American Grand Prix provisionally. May not hold the win here, may get the win here. Who knows what's going to happen? But Fran Lopez, well, Florian Gaia on the last lap just went for the fastest lap of the race. That is great from Florian Gaia, who finishes 8th. Fran Lopez will come across in 2nd, and David Feidick is all set for P3. Unless something catastrophically wrong happens, although I doubt it will. Should just be able to wind it home now. Emmanuel Gaxala looking to come home 4th. Michael Francesconi 5th after a mistake. Roy Shorten, a very respectable P6 for Woods Racing. Great result for Roy. Daniel Benefield hoping to come home in 7th. Maybe could have been higher, but 7th is still to be respected. Florian Guy 8th. Lewis Rachel is 9th. Tom Parker 10th. Jason Muscat is going to come home in P11. David Tapper 12th by the looks of it. Adrian Norton set to come on B13. Ben Horrell 14th. Mike Quinn rounds out the points for Hawkeye. And then it's Tobias Olsen 16th and Mark Wake 17th. Your retirements: Daniel Brewer, Joel Tyne, and Augustin Canapino.
Well, that was exciting. Although, to be fair, that was probably one of the lesser exciting races by the end at least for the last few races. But it was still very, very good, and some interesting decisions, some interesting tactics. And something that's also very interesting, I think now, according to my very quick maths, from leading by 4 points, David Feidick is going to be trailing by 5.
Well, we've gone from, well, with that 3rd place, it's going to be from 4 points in Feidick's favour to 5 in Eros's. And that, it's not a points change much, but it is a change in the lead, and it's going to mean David Feidick has to win or outscore Eros Missouri in the final round at Brazil to do this once and for all. But of course, as we learned from the previous race, this is only provisional.
Of course, and actually, in fact, even a single win even a win in the next race for David Feidick and 2nd place for Eros Missouri, if this is of course if this will go official in this exact order, this would mean that Eros is taking the championship. So if Eros wins the next, if Eros finishes second next race, this will mean the championship is going towards him.
Well, it should go down to the wire anyway. There's no reason why it shouldn't. And it is looking to be an interesting little race at Brazil. And I'm just going to wait a couple of moments while the broadcast booth fills up and we decide who we're going to be bringing in. But it is set now to be a fantastic finale.
Yeah, it should be fantastic. And we really just wanted that exact thing for the last race, that fight to the finish, just to the very line. And I think this is going to be just more than exciting. This is going to be absolutely amazing stuff.
Well, I think I would like to start dragging people into the broadcast booth now, if it's quite all right. We can get underway with these interviews, and I'm going to start that now. And we are going to start with our podium setter, David Fidek.
Oh, hello.
Hello, David, to you. P3 in the end. Not really the race start you would have liked, though.
No, when you got people helping out the championship, then you don't need to focus on your own race, do you? It gets decided for you at the first lap. Everyone trying to win, obviously. That's the one place to do it. But yeah, race decided first lap by stupid drivers. Yeah.
Well, regardless, though, you are P3 and still a very respectable result. Not quite what you would have been hoping for, of course. But nonetheless, a third is still a podium. And in terms of championship deficit, yes, you lose the lead of the Drivers' Championship provisionally, but we know we've seen that the races can change after penalties have been applied. It might be that the championship is still very, very close heading into the final round. And, well, hope should not be given up yet, because we have seen comebacks quite, from positions like this, going into Interlagos. Obviously, it's going to be a key round. How are you feeling going into Interlagos then?
Well, in terms of my pace and what I can do with the car, I'm always feeling good, confident, and yeah, I'll give it everything I can as always. But I don't know what the points will be going into the last race, barring penalties. But at the end of the day, Eros did nothing wrong, so he's not going to get a penalty. So it'd just be down to other people around. But yeah. I'll do what I can, but in terms of this race, yeah, not much to say. I don't know why I come in here, because I was trying to act professional, but I don't want to talk. Yeah, it's a disaster. Just got hit left, right, and centre. People moving twice on the lines as they were trying to defend me. But yeah, I guess you got to take the bad with the good. Is that the right word? I don't know, but
It's good enough.
yeah.
You got the phrasing pretty much there. Congratulations, obviously, on not having a great race. As you hope, well done on the third place, nonetheless, David.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
And I would now like to bring in none other than Florian Gaia. Hey, Florian. Well, you were P8 in the end, although he pitted twice towards the end of the race. Do you know what that was about?
Sorry, what?
Your two pit stops near the end of the race. You were in podium contention, so what was with the pit stops?
I had one for speeding in pit lane because the pit limiter didn't work, so that was that.
Right, so it was a double penalty then.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was all pretty fucked up from the beginning. Someone hit off Dave, and from there on, yeah, not much to say really. Yeah, it tells a lot about some people.
Well, obviously not the best race for David, as we said, but pace-wise, you were absolutely up there with the top three all race, so that has to be a good takeaway going into the final round at Lagos.
I got no clue. I mean, qualifying was good, but from there on, it all went downwards. So we're gonna find out why that was. I mean, just want to point out, not sure if you guys saw it, but Eros had massive lag in front of me the first few laps, so not sure what went on there. Yeah. Apart from that, it was a pretty shit afternoon.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us anyway, Flo, and obviously commiserations on the problems that you had near the end of the race.
Yeah.
I'd now like to bring in none other than the Australian brilliant Red Archer driver himself, Daniel Benefield. Hello, Daniel.
Hello.
So, a good result for you in the end, and you were up and about in the entirety of the race. Obviously, not quite championship contention now, but good result.
Yeah, it was actually nice to not disconnect for once, and not have any other issues. I think I'm pretty happy though. I think this is my 4th top 10 in 6 races or something like that.
Well, it's certainly good form, I will give you that, and well, puts you in good stead for 2017 for potential team managers to come calling. And have you thought about your 2017 plans yet?
Nah, not really. I'm waiting to see what happens in a couple of other leagues. I want to be in Superleague, that's for sure. It's more how much practice I get done, to be honest, but I definitely want to be in Superleague next year for sure.
I'm sure a lot of people will be happy to have you as well. How are you feeling going into the final round? Because it's all coming to an end now with the final round in August, and a whole year of GPVWC racing is about to come to a close. So how are you feeling?
I'll tell you after Brazil whether we know when we know whether we get P5 or P6 or P7 in the constructors.
Well,
but we made some good inroads on Kernel since they didn't score any points today, and I think we got 29 or something. So I think we're only 9 behind them now. Going into Brazil, I think Woods will be a bit out of reach now for P4, P5. I mean, so I think we got a good chance at P6 though.
yeah, well, nonetheless, great result from you, Daniel, and nice racing as well today.
Thanks, Josh.
And last but by absolutely no means least, we come to our race winner, Eros Mashuli. Eros, hello and welcome once again, and well done on the race win. In terms of championship challenge, this is going to be crucial because I think provisionally with this you move 5 points ahead at the top of the championship table.
Hi guys, yes, I was. I had to win tonight to maintain the fight open because I was 4 points behind, and in the top we are only 3, 4, probably 5 drivers, so there is not much point to gain every time. And if tonight I finish it in the back of David, it could be really hard in the last race. Now is all open. I think in Brazil, who will be in front will win probably.
Well, it's going to be an interesting last race, that's for certain. There's potentially 5 points in it between you and David Fidek. It is going down to the final race, and it is going to be a classic in Interlagos. How are you feeling going in towards it? Because I've asked everyone else the question, I may as well ask you how your feelings and thoughts are heading into the final race of career ladder competition.
Well, I like a lot the track. I like a lot Interlagos, and I hope the car will feel good like tonight, and not like at Austin, in which I had no pace absolutely with the problem. Spinning in the rear every time. Tonight it was really good. Good grip all over the race, and yes, my biggest fear tonight was internet, and I hope also in the last race I don't care if I win or if I lose, but my best hope is about the internet letting me finish this championship with David. Yeah, today he also did a good race. Probably he had some issues. Start, I see some cars were a bit aggressive. I was side by side with him, and I see one car going inside. Was a bit of chaos after, but I see him recovering from I think top 10 margin to P3, and I am a bit disappointed for my teammate because he lost a lot of points, and he also had problem at starts, and all the race was a bit difficult.
Yeah, it wasn't quite an easy race for Michael, but nonetheless, race win for you, and that's gonna help help in the championship standings for you. Well done on the win again, Eros.
Thanks a lot, guys.
And that rounds out the interviews for this race. Any closing thoughts from you, Kacper?
Well, interesting race. Some questionable situations I've seen. Some little crashes. Some issues with screen freezes that I'm seeing. Apparently, Brewer. That's why we've seen this very weird crash. That was Brewer having a big screen freeze. But
right.
yes, some really good battles actually throughout the race. A very good drive from Eros at the just that gap. I have no idea how that how that just went on, but the pace was incredible, and I think we're in for a fantastic end of the season.
I think we are in for a great end of the season indeed, and it's all coming to an end this week and the next week at GPVWC. Unfortunately, we have very few events left in the calendar. We have the finale of the International Touring Cup from Interlagos in 4 days' time, and then we have a few days after that, we have the Grand Prix of the Americas from the Circuit of the Americas. And then, of course, in 2 weeks' time from now, Brazil week. Everything comes to an end in terms of career ladder. It is Open Series, Formula Challenge, Super Cup, and the final race of the season. Well, the 2016 main season in Super League. Hopefully we'll have Masters over the year, but nothing obviously confirmed yet. Keep your eyes on that and for anything that is related to series announcements. So, in these closing moments of the broadcast, I would like to thank Mr. Kacper Kolodziejczyk for joining me on commentary, for Mr. Thomas Hinss for stepping in on cameras today. I've been Joshua Anderson, and in true Andersonian fashion, I'm going to lead you out in Brazilian. So, from me and everybody else here in the broadcast booth today, it is very much ciao.